Alright. Good evening or morning, everybody. Let me be the first and possibly the last to welcome you to Saga 2017.
Oh yeah.
I always believed it would actually happen.
All I had to do was nothing.
So I'm puwexil, and with me are my buds Big Fong Balls and Lin One, fellow Saga series aficionados. And I think we are ready to go. So I start timing for this after finishing character creation, so...
We have here possibly the only two people in this entire Earth who run Glitchless. American.
As far as anyone knows.
Yes, because like a lot of glitchless RPG speedruns, this is much more popular in Japan than in the West.
Like most glitchless speedruns, I just waited for puwexil to route it and then install it and ran it once.
And like most RPG speedruns, people stole everything from me, dude.
Darn right. Alright, we are gonna get started in 3, 2, 1, go!
I just wanted to point out the flavor fail that you did not name Gloria Glory.
Next
Yeah,
time.
I did do a complete practice run just to make sure it didn't throw me off too hard that I have a character named Gloria, now named Four, and then a character normally named Sharon named Glory.
What a great RPG speedrun we have, though, where you start immediately in the action with this hot encounter against 2 rabbit witches and 2 fairies. Isn't it great?
Hope you like that encounter, because you're probably going to see it again.
Oh, dude, the action's over already. We're already at a
Don't worry,
cutscene, I'm
don't
sorry.
worry, we'll be back to the action soon enough.
So we got Legend 3 here. You've already met 3 out of the 4 main characters, and you also have your first guest character in there as well. Our other main character is talking to Wexel right now. She'll be joining up soon enough. They just gotta gaze in each other's eyes and talk about how they'll miss each other for a while first. But, you know, love is important.
One nice thing about, I think, all 3 of the Final Fantasy Legends is that there isn't really text mashing that you have to do. Like, for all conversations and cutscenes, I'm basically just holding the A button in order to get the game to print the text at, at normal speed instead of really, really painfully slow speed. But there's basically natural breaks in the conversations where if I just hold it, it's going to stop, so I have to kind of know where those are and then release and repress the A button in order to resume the text.
Yeah, if you actually wanted to be really good at this, you could, you go through and you memorize where every break is, and then you know when to stop pressing it.
Which is awesome, Truly great RPG speedruns like this one require tech in all places, including text. So, this is a top tier RPG speedrun for sure. Top tier.
I mean, it's definitely an RPG speedrun, I'll give you that.
And it's on a tier.
Wherever we're going, we're going there.
We'll find out what that tier is soon enough, too, once the game decides how many of my antics it's going to put up with. So this, so since I finished the tutorial battle, this is all autopilot, by the way, too. This is just getting introduced to the story, to the premise that we're a group of kids, surprise, surprise, setting off on a journey to save the world. This time from an evil, trans-dimensional water jug that's flooding the seas in our world.
The story in this game is actually, like, ridiculously ambitious. They're trying to do a lot and say a lot, and there's some cool stuff in there, and then there's some stuff that's just, like, completely glossed over. It's kind of insane. But I guess it makes it more fun in the end.
One of the really sweet mechanics this game has, too, which is being able to jump over NPCs, which pretty much any 2D tile-based RPG should have, in my opinion.
Yeah, except for those small amount of areas where the jump doesn't help you, like if that NPC had just sat in front of the door, and there's not a whole lot of puwexil could have done about that. But otherwise, we're looking fine. We're looking fine.
Okay, now we started the game, so it's a time to do the best, everybody's favorite thing in RPGs, which is immediately start grinding.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going full DBZ here with jumping right into the hyperbolic time chamber.
Oh yeah. So they do have to prep for the first dungeon, the North Tower, and the North Tower is actually no joke. If you go in there at level 1, you'll probably die. If you go in there at level 2, it's manageable. But we're gonna grind up to level 4 here, and a little bit of buying happened. The kind of two middle characters towards the left, second from the left, third from the left, are not actually quote-unquote human beings. They're mutants. And they actually have a higher multiplier for magic damage than humans do. And, oh, nice
We're
one
off
there.
to a really great start here, too. I would really prefer to keep my levels as in sync as possible. So
Yeah,
we're just going to call
exactly.
mulligan on that one.
Thankfully,
levels-
you can save anywhere.
Levels matter, so you especially want them to be together.
Uh-huh. Levels are actually super important for some of the stuff that's going to be happening later.
Yeah,
But yeah, kind of getting back to it. You gotta have your physical wielders on the left and second from the right, and then the two from the left there. Since they're mutants, they do higher magic damage, so we throw a nice one on there because that's where a lot of their damage is going to come from, especially in the early game.
yeah, because
But this strategy,
could probably just go
Sorry,
over what all the various races in this game do too during this grind too, because like we're starting out with two, not including Myron, who's our guest character. We have 2 humans and 2 mutants, and then humans have a natural affinity for melee weapons, and mutants with damaging magic. That's why I'm just doing what I'm doing with them.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, people have already kind of said it in chat a few times already. Legend 3 is fairly different from 1 and 2, but certain things are still in place, so you can still kind of alter the type of party members you have. And so right now you have your kind of base humans and mutants. We've already talked about their affinities. And certain monsters and robots can drop parts or meat in this game, and you can decide to add them or have your party members eat them with different results. So if you start eating meat, you'll progress towards a monster. You'll first become a beast and then a full-on monster, and they tend to have very, very specific talents that they can have that you're not really going to find somewhere else. And the Glitchless run makes heavy use of those. On the other hand of that, you can farm robot parts to move towards a cyborg, and then full-on robots, which is what the any % run gears towards. And
Yeah, because for each race has, other than humans and mutants, kind of has its own unique twist on getting stronger. And then for robots, the way you get stronger is pretty much just about spending money to buy these stat boosting capsules or pills from shops, and then in any % run where you can use a glitch to get effectively unlimited money fairly early in the game, you can use that to basically just break the leveling curve completely by getting robots and then just maxing out their stats. But when we don't have access to that, that makes robots pretty much unviable for a glitchless speedrun. So, I mean, it'll be a little while before we really get going with the evolution system, but kind of our end result is going to be going with Beastmen, because they have fairly good stats, and then they get unique abilities, or talents as they're called in this game, at certain levels. It's a pretty complex system too, just because the meat and robot parts are tied to elements, both of the monster or robot that drops the meat or part, along with the innate element of the character that uses it.
yeah, as per usual, the kind of tables of transformations and stuff is pretty ridiculous. Pretty hard to deal with, like starting off from scratch, but obviously those resources are available these days.
hey, it was in the instruction manual. All that is.
I suppose that's true.
I find
Could any
it
of us
kind of
understand-
interesting too that you can just play this whole game from start to finish without ever touching the evolution system if you don't want to too, just because a big change with this game from Legend 1 and 2 is having experience points and levels at all, just because Legends 1 and 2 had kind of very... the leveling systems in those just required you to actually understand kind of that game's evolution system, or else you'd get stonewalled by a boss somewhere. But here, if you just grind enough levels, you'll be able to make it through.
Yeah, I think all I really figured out when I was playing this casually early on was robots, because they had the parts in the stores, and I'm like, oh, I can just buy these things. The rest of them I never really figured out.
As per usual, I didn't understand anything.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I did probably 2, maybe 3 complete runs through this game as a kid during family road trips, and every time I poked around a little bit with the evolution system, and then it confused me too much, and I just rolled with humans and mutants. So we actually just went past the point that I'd cut off this grinding segment in a PB attempt, but for marathon safety, I'm taking 2 more battles past that point, just as kind of a hedge against getting bad luck in the North Tower.
You can definitely get bad luck in this game, don't worry.
Yeah, because my first kind of real objective leveling-wise is to be level 6 before start going to the next main big dungeon after the North Tower, and it's fairly common actually to not get enough encounters in the tower in order to hit that without having to stop and farm, so just taking 2 or 3 extra battles in the simulator here helps get us kind of guarantee getting us going a little faster. Alright, so I'm level 4 with a healthy dose of cash on Ash, so I'm just going to buy some belts here for just a little bit of extra defense, stay at the end, and then head for the tower.
Money's actually somewhat tight in this run. You don't have all that much. We pick up a lot of stuff to sell.
Yeah, stuff does get real pricey, and gear is very important in this game, especially a little bit later on as more and more things start to give you immunities and things like that. So you definitely need the money to do it, and any percent you don't have a care in the world about that. But for Glitchless, we definitely do. Belts are super basic. I mean, most armor items add to everything: defense, evasion, magic defense, and magic evasion, and belts kind of one of your first kind of baseline items that add just a little bit to all of those, or just a little bit extra defense there.
Oh, and you remember how I said this game doesn't really have mashing in it? Another really nice quality of life thing it has is that during battles, if you hold down the select button, that actually kind of effectively turns your confirm inputs into turbo fire. So if I and there's memory cursor, so if I just want to redo the same commands I did the last turn, well, with the exception of targeting, which resets, all I have to do is just hold select and A.
It'll also come in later when we have a lot more stuff in our inventory and our magic, but you can also scroll a lot faster while holding select, which is actually pretty awkward to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if anyone's curious, I'm playing this on a Super Game Boy 2, which is an adapter for the Super Nintendo console that lets you just plug in a Game Boy or certain Game Boy Color cartridges and play to your heart's content.
It has the fortune of not running slightly faster than the actual Game Boy hardware like the SGB1
Super
does.
Game Boy Player 2 and Game Boy Player, which is a GameCube accessory, are generally the ways to go for speedrunning Game Boy games.
Yeah. Otherwise you're cheating! Oh look! Robot part.
Yep.
He's rolling over in his grave.
I am rolling over in my grave right now. Shaking my SMH, dude.
So ideally I'd like to be maybe halfway to level 6 before I leave this tower, and I just hit level 5, so assuming I don't get a bunch of encounters before I leave, I'm just gonna farm a couple before I head out.
Please, they're called V-cheaters. It's still cheating. Duh. Universally unacceptable.
Agreed.
Average
The
encounter in this tower is worth probably about double the XP of a encounter in the battle simulator, so kind of once I'm past a certain point, it becomes a little more, I get the XP per minute curve kind of goes up a bit to just take encounters in here, as long as I don't have to like walk around for like 30 seconds or so between encounters, it'll translate into faster leveling.
Yeah. Shell is a spell. It adds to defense and it's stackable.
We'll be seeing Shell much, much, much later.
Yeah, it adds plus 10 defense, and again, it's stackable as you can keep adding plus 10 as much as you want. It's pretty sweet.
It has a specific use on one fight, and you'll see why.
Yeah, it'll be a while from now, though, as I already mentioned.
And then for all these fights too, I'm trying to exploit elemental weaknesses when I need to, and not when I don't need to, just because there's extra text on the bottom of the screen whenever you hit an elemental resistance or weakness. So like I'm kind of pretty much to the point now where even though the orcs, which are strong against ice, will still die to an Ice 1 spell. If I use it on them, it creates a little extra tax, so I try to avoid that as much as possible.
What? We should change this into an any percent run immediately.
I don't know, I feel like you should have already had like 20 robot parts by now and 80%.
That's right, we would have reset 5 minutes ago, you're right.
Don't worry though, I get my own equivalent of the robot part grind in about 20 minutes or so. Although
It's a little better.
It's a little bit better, but not at the same time.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
You only need 2 total, and you have a lot more chances, but...
Alright, we're gonna call that good and get on with our business. Yeah. So the whole point of going to that tower was to get the float spell, which lets you go over water tiles in the overworld.
It's a literal float spell. You can float around and you can cross the water in a giant ice cream cone. It's quite fantastic.
I like how they put a little twist on it where it's not just the kind of traditional method of floating in RPG where you're just like hovering off the ground. No, you summon this weird-looking mini island that you ride around in.
Ice cream float, there you go.
Also, me fighting every encounter I get into isn't going to last for the entire game, too. It's just kind of during certain legs where I need levels.
Yeah, we need a good fresh start here for the beginning, so mostly everything's going to get fought.
The downside that goes from not having max stat robots already.
Yeah. So there's a story trigger to get through here to get puwexil going to the next leg of the game, which is going into the past via the time machine, the Talon. A little bit of a shopping trip here, though, to get 4 plumes and 4 side daggers. Side daggers are not only a physical strength upgrade, but it also raises agility by 6, which
Agility
is
a very, 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 very important stat in this run, too.
Yeah, exactly. Turn order is actually fairly predictable in this game as long as your speed stat's high, higher than whatever's going on, and you're pretty much guaranteed to go first. So it's really good all throughout the game, to be honest, to have that +6 boost. And then plumes are similar to belts, so they're going to add some defensive points across the board, a little bit more than the belt for magic evasion and magic defense. But one of the other main things about them that are nice is sleep resistance as well.
Yeah, most of the equipable accessories after the belt give you some kind of status immunity, so I'm going to be kind of loading up on those whenever I get a chance to throw those on whenever I fight a boss that has some kind of status attack that I don't want to get hit by.
In fact, you are right. Literally every single accessory that's not the belt has
They sure
something.
do. pretty much all the equipment we'll be buying is for either status immunities or agility. Aside from like a weapon or two here and there.
Especially as they get. Go ahead.
I'm in really good shape for experience too. In fact, I'm just gonna. Oops. It's
Can't
I can't
run from that one.
This.
This
Yeah, this is the intro battle again, so it's flagged as unrunnable, regardless of what your agility stat that normally governs running away is. But to say, I was gonna run from it and then hit level 6 for Sharon off the water hag, but I guess we're hitting level 6 here.
Yeah, there's a can't run trigger on this fight with these two enemies in particular. There's a couple different packs that you can get, mostly because it's the same pack you get in the very beginning, which they don't want you to run from. And then, funny enough, you can they don't have a differently programmed fight for the overworld, so you just doesn't matter what happens.
That's actually a fairly
run.
common thing in older RPGs too. That if you have to basically refight a boss or unscripted story fight at some point, if it's reused as a normal encounter later, it has the boss flag.
For instance, this water hag.
The water hag, our first boss of the game.
Yeah, this is, and when I'm this leveled up like this fight is generally a pushover. It should be over in 2 rounds unless I miss a lot. Sometimes even 1 if I get a crit.
Yeah, he only really has. He's got 3 different attacks: a really weak AOE, and then a magic down attack, and then his regular physical. And because puwexil is such high level, it's not really a big deal. When you would normally fight this guy a few levels lower than any percent, he can start killing off a bunch of people.
Okay,
I mean,
being higher level than my opposition is about to change in a big way, though. Say goodbye to Myron here. Basically all of the guest characters that you get are really good too, just because they're scaled based on the level that you're expected to be at in a casual playthrough.
Yeah,
which translates into being OP in a speedrun.
Something that got lost in Mystic Quest, but for here, every guest character is super useful.
Like you saw, like during all of the fighting I was doing in the first 20 minutes of the run, my run was always going first. He was always one-shotting basically every monster. Now we get the almighty Flush X unit here.
Oh yeah. Flush X.
But how is the Flush X working?
He'll say it every time, too. I love it. Flush
He's
X.
not gonna say it here.
Yeah, I know. Sad face. How much do I donate for an extra conversation?
I'll do that. I'll do it once just for you.
Thank you.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, the Flush X, by the way, isn't normally used in a run. It kind of de-evolves you, basically, if you want to get out of, like, a bad transformation from a meat or robot part. So that it's kind of nice there as a escape hatch if I somehow mess up the route for the run, but I have yet to need to use it, and hopefully that will be a long, continuing trend.
So again, after all that grinding, we got some money, bought some stuff, bought some, by the end of it all, puwexil will have some cure 2s for healing, some relaxes to cure paralyze if and when needed, spark and venom both afflict, poison and blind, I think.
Yep.
And both afflict it and cure it, which is hilarious to me as well. And then the arrow spell for some extra damage there. There are definitely bosses and monsters out there with their own specific either immunities or weaknesses very occasionally.
Yeah, the Cure 2 potions are a lot better than the Cure 1 spell that I could get here too. Like, the Cure 2 potion is 100 HP, and Cure 1, I mean, it scales by your magic stat, but it would probably only be doing about 50 or so at this point for me.
So we're rolling through the cave right now, talking to Granny. We're about to rescue Lara, who's been captured by Dogra. And Encounters here are going to be unpredictable in pretty much the rest of the game, as this is glitchless. It's agreed upon that encounter manipulation is not used at all, and it's not predictable like maybe in your FF4s or 6s or whatever, where you can kind of set that stuff up. All the encounters are frame-based, and if he had, let's say, moved frame perfectly and kept moving, there'd be X amount of steps before you get the encounter, but as soon as puwexil maybe pauses or bonks the wall or something like that, frame opens the menu, frame changes, and we have no idea when that encounter is going to come up. So it could be a billion steps, could be, 2, just kind of depends, and he's going to roll with a bunch of this the whole game for the the whole game.
Yeah, because I mean, like in an any percent run, you'd be resetting the game pretty frequently in order to kind of control the frame that you start to walk on in order to manipulate no encounters. But the rule set I'm using for this run, which I basically got from the Japanese Saga community, doesn't use it.
It's not as important in this category, I think, as in the 100% category, because you don't just get unexpected attacked by like every fight.
Yeah, because getting unexpected attacked or ambushed it's heavily weighted by your average party level relative to the monsters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's only like a few parts of the game where that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, there'll be a handful of dungeons that puwexil won't be like this super high level as compared to, well, not super, never really super high, but high enough level as compared to the monsters. Like right now he's doing just fine. Later on, there will be a couple of enemy packs that you won't be able to run from, and you'll have to take care of that by other means, but right now it's totally reasonable. And I see a question in chat here about the mice, and the mice robots are used in any percent only. This is glitchless though, so that stuff is not used, because you're never going to have the money to stat boost yourself.
We'll see what we'll be doing to get around not having mice. Hopefully very soon.
Yeah. And now we actually have our first real boss here. Giving the arrow spells to your mutants, because again they have double the multiplier for magic than anybody else. And then here we go.
Hey, no ambush.
Nice.
It's always nice when the boss doesn't, randomly attack you accidentally.
Yeah, I never
while
saw
you're
it
standing
coming,
there.
even though I just had a nice little conversation with Dogra before starting the fight. I might not have seen it coming that he was going to attack me.
It is, yeah, hilarious, man. Talking to this person right in front of you, but didn't matter. And honestly, this boss already kind of starts off the trend for boss fights as far as HP pool. Dogra has 3,000 HP, and it's not terrible, but you're pumping out per attack. If assuming you hit, right?
Yeah, because
like 100 something damage.
In the early game for this run, missing is actually fairly common and extremely annoying. And you know what? We're gonna start over.
That's not something you want to see. You really want your humans to survive. They need levels.
I do want everyone to survive.
Yeah.
Dogra does have an attack that can one-shot my mutants. And if he does it fairly early in the fight, I'm just going to start over, because even though I can continue, if one of my mutants loses the XP from this fight, that makes the next two boss fights more difficult. So, I mean, if it's late in the fight, I'll just roll with it, but if he kills Gloria or Sharon, or Gloria or Curtis on like the first few rounds, I'll just reset it.
And at this point, we don't have any way to cure dead people, so we don't have elixirs or anything.
Yeah.
Hey, he is going in today.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because he's only actually capable of killing non-mutant well, I guess Laura is technically a mutant, but he's only capable of killing everybody except Curtis and Gloria from max health in one hit with a crit, which he's now done twice.
What a speedrun.
Yeah. Yeah, this run does have some pretty brutal RNG to get a good time, but kind of the saving grace is that most of it's pretty early in the game.
Yeah. Once you get past Chaos, it's pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have a near 3-hour speedrun. This is probably going to end up being, and maybe the first hour will be kind of rough, and the rest is typically smoother sailing from there.
Yeah, once we just get access to just more resources and stuff.
yeah, you're pretty limited at this point.
It's okay.
Fortunately, Dogra is fairly slow and is pretty much always going to go last, so the general strat for this fight is just to kind of wail away and have Arthur drop a Cure 2 potion on whoever he hits.
This is all manip for the meat drop, though, so it's all good. We got this. All of us here right now, we're gonna get the meat together.
Something we'll hope to see in a little bit. The bosses themselves don't actually drop meat like in some other games, but the 2 witches that he comes with do, and they are fire elemental, and we want fire elemental meat, it turns out, at the end of this fight.
I do like to see him doing a single target attack on Arthur, because then I can just select A all the way through the next round, because then that'll make Arthur use a Cure 2 on himself.
It seems to be going pretty smooth right now. I'm digging it.
I haven't gotten too many misses yet. He's got 3,000 health, so this is usually going to work out to be about a 6-7 round fight. And...
You getting there.
Woohoo!
Oh,
Nice. I bet that was the spoiler. Oh yeah, dude. I knew it.
All the note.
We did it, everybody. We did it. I want to thank everybody in the chat for helping get the meat from that fight. That saves a lot of time, actually.
So everybody's sending me their saga energy.
Unfortunately, puwexil missed all of his splits so far, so I don't know how he's doing.
So Sharon,
not too good compared to my PB, because I did not die to Dograd or reset at all in my PB, and I did get the meat drop too.
So that chest does have a part for the ship that's not really all that useful, and fortunately is not needed to trigger anything. Other chests are, even if you don't use them, but that one is not, so he didn't need to get it. And,
yeah, because by the time we actually even gain the ability to move in the Talon, we'll have a better movement unit. Just skip getting the hover engine there.
Yeah.
But now it's not 100%.
I know High Spirits would appreciate keeping on schedule, but he probably doesn't want us to have to route 100% and do the run on the fly.
So we got a fairy because of the way the tables work out. We want this is setting up Sharon for the entire game, but Sharon is Let's see. Sharon's Earth Elemental, and we gave her a fire meat, and then so the table says she becomes an air beast from that, and so she is now a pixie, I believe. Yeah, or no, she's fairy. She'll be pixie in 2 levels, and every time she levels up, she'll change to something else. But it's set, and she'll swap back and forth between, I believe it's Earth and Air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean, this is going to be relevant for the whole rest of the game, but for the very near future, this is all setting up for the Chaos Battle, who's the worst boss in the whole run for this category, so there's some very specific preparations I'm going to be doing before getting to Chaos. And one of them is to have Sharon be a wind beast at level 10.
Yeah, she's going to be a pixie, which it turns out is strong to quake, which is going to be very important.
Along with having a naturally high agility stat. Equally important.
Yep.
So, and then I also do want to hit level 9 before getting to Ashura, the next boss, too, so I'm just going to be taking some fights here, although I'm not... If I don't hit level 9 before getting back to the present, I'm going to top it off in the Battle Simulator. If I didn't get the Witch Meat drop from Dogra, I would also be farming for a Fire Elemental monster to drop meat during my trip out of the cave here, too. Like that Baby D meat I just got is Fire Element. There's the Witch, and then there's also a Whisper, which is a little fireball enemy that's also Fire Element, so I'd be gunning for a meat drop from one of them before, and I'd also have to get it before Sharon reaches level 9 too. That's something I do have to be very attentive to because you eat the meat after getting your experience and levels from the fight. So if I hit level 9 and then ate fire meat, then I would not become a pixie. I'd become something else I don't want.
You actually would still become a pixie if you ate fire elemental meat to level 9, or you'd become a pixie, but then at level 10 for chaos you wouldn't be a pixie anymore.
Oh, okay. That was a...
You'd be whatever the earth one is.
Yeah, which was something I learned the hard way when I did my first run of this for 12-hour challenge last year. Chaos took a while.
We've beaten the game like I believe like level 20 or either 28 or 20. I think it's 29 after the final boss, but it's 28 or 29.
Right.
28 or 29. Dang.
Which is like quadruple what you'd end an 80% run at.
Maybe not quadruple.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
the
a lot of
80%
free levels
category,
for bosses.
I think has absolutely zero need to get to level up outside of just experience you naturally get from boss fights, just because of being able to become robots and then use unlimited money to max out your stats.
Yeah, nice, dude. You got a free Cure 1 to ruin your inventory.
Yes. That will be getting sold off momentarily.
Fortunately, this game doesn't have any like free times to move your inventory or anything really, so you gotta plan for it and do it when it's most advantageous.
You get the dive spell here, which lets us go on top of or under water tiles. I'm a bigger fan of the Japanese version name for it though, which is salmon, because it's very fitting for what the dive sprite looks like. I'm really close to level 9, so if I don't get another encounter before getting out of here, I'm just going to hit the battle simulator again.
Having those frame-based encounter, rates or whatever is sometimes so obnoxious. Like, you could be sitting there and literally take like 50 steps or something like that and just not get anything.
No, when you don't want encounters, you get them every 3 steps.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I got I think I literally did get like 3 encounters and like 3 to 5 steps on my way down to Dogra too.
Like I said, he doesn't want to fight like extra stuff early because he needs to be very specific levels at specific times because of the way the beast evolution system works.
Alright, we're back in the present. Save the girl in the past, bring her to the present. Everybody's happy. Go back.
Hyperolic time chamber.
Absolutely. We need the next step of training here. We need Kaioken times 5 now.
If only we had some Toriyama artwork to fight here. In the early game too, Sharon is lags behind the other 3 a bit, even if you never die, just because of her not being part of the tutorial fight at the very beginning. So she's like, I don't know, like 15 experience or so behind the others, which in the early game actually matters.
You'll often have to fight just an extra fight just to make up for it.
Alright. And basically every 2 levels you upgrade with either like your monster type there. And we got the Beast Man now.
The other types of things don't, or at least robots and cyborgs don't upgrade when you level up, but beasts do every time you level up.
Yeah, for robots, if you want to change what they are, you gotta get up your level and then get a new part as well. But thankfully you don't have to bother with that for Mansters.
So I'm doing this is a little detour I'm doing for the marathon route. Basically, I wouldn't do this in a PB attempt. But making a little pit stop, because I'm heading to the undersea city of Mu to buy some better magic, basically. And then on my way there, if I can make a little pit stop at this shipwreck here to get a tear gas, which is a consumable combat item, of which this game actually has quite a few. But tear gas is one of the most useful as far as just how effective it is at the parts of the game when you first get it. And I can't actually buy them until I get access to the future, which is after Chaos, but picking one up here makes the Ashura fight quite a bit safer. It's not really faster on average, but I'm just doing it for marathon safety.
And consumable attack items are super nice for sure, regardless of who you are or what you are. They'll do a flat amount of damage, but depending on what the item is. Your TMNT is the first one you can get. Single target, but always does a flat damage. Tear gas is AoE flat damage for more damage and can paralyze if for whatever reason things are living past it. So it's really it's a dang good item. And then bought some elixirs there as well. Elixirs are the greatest thing ever. They will heal you to full. They will revive you from death and heal you to full. They will also get rid of any status effects you have if you have any of those. They're quite fantastic.
Unfortunately, they're just too expensive to buy a lot of at really any point in the game.
Yeah.
At least until much later. But he's gonna have a few here for Chaos specifically.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy elixirs, but they're 3,500 a pop. Like, that's really, really, really expensive.
That's called selling one of my just purchased lit ones because of the misclick, so let's spec.
Dope. Yeah, kind of switching up some spells here. What's the new attack spell that's going to be more useful right now?
Another nice thing about combat items too is that they bypass the fact that beasts don't get the human damage bonus with weapons too.
Yeah, humans actually have a modifier on their weapons.
Like you may have noticed during the couple fights I did after leaving Dogra's cave that Sharon's damage with her side dagger was about half of what the other characters was, and that's because of her being a beast now.
Yeah, much like with magic, so humans pretty much get double the multiplier that everybody else gets.
Beasts get a multiplier with martial arts attacks, which is going to matter later, but right now I don't have access to any particularly good martial arts attacks.
Yeah, all the different transformations and stuff have different things they're good at.
Alright, so we mentioned a bit ago that our ability to run away from encounters is based on our agility stat relative to monsters, and for whatever reason there's actually a mushroom enemy in this tower that has a really high agility stat compared to me right now, so I'm actually saving fairly often so that if I run into that mushroom I can just reset to get out of it, which is considerably faster than fighting. It's pretty at this point with the stats and races I have right now. It's pretty much totally unrunnable. I haven't gotten any yet. I can't run there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not super consistent either. It's something you might have run from 5 times, you might not run away from the next time. But the thing about the mushroom is, yeah, it's a guaranteed not going to be able to run, so you would easily reset from there. And you might have already noticed too, battles don't exactly flow the fastest. So even though he can't run on an encounter you could run for him, you don't want to wait out all those attacks and time-wise and of course healing-wise too. So again, you're better off resetting for sure. Now we got our boy. We got our boy Ashura.
You might
He's our
remember from
boy.
other Final Fantasy Legend games like the Final Fantasy Legend and Final Fantasy Legend.
Absolutely. He's a mainstay in the whole series. And as you progress through the series, you see Ashura's consistent series of demotions, and it's pretty great. He's like the second to last boss in the first one, and then like the first like really major boss in the second one that you might have seen last night. And then in this one, he's like little flunky, a boss flunky.
It's okay. He still has his own flunkies.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, he's like a team lead at Target. You know, team leads are in charge of people still, but he's not like store manager or anything anymore.
That was a pretty awful first turn.
Yeah, I think I've seen better starts to this fight. But there's your tear gas right there, just wrecking shop. And a few relaxes were bought just in case this would happen, so we can get that paralyze off of him.
Fortunately, tried to double paralyze and it didn't work.
Yeah, there you go, key holder. Yeah. Hey, yeah. I was a key holder once.
Shura always goes first too, just because of how high his agility stat is too. So I'm gonna be for my marathon strats for this fight. I'm gonna be making very heavy use of the guard mechanic, which lets a character basically give up their turn in order to take any single target or group attacks in place of whoever you use it on. Since Ashura always goes first, but also only does single target attacks, so as long as I kind of keep this up, where whoever he hits, I guard. Immediately after, no one will ever actually die. If I really wanted to kind of grind my time down, I would be playing this a bit more aggressively, like kind of foregoing that until he actually kills somebody, then pop an elixir, and then would be switched to the guard strat. And then I'd also maybe throw a TNT at him too, but I want to save all of my elixirs and all of my TNT for Chaos.
Yeah, Chaos is definitely the brick wall.
Oh yes. Casually and in the glitchless speedrun for sure, Chaos is just awful. But we're not
we'll get
there
into
yet.
More about why when we're kind of getting closer to it.
We're not at store manager yet. We're still fighting team lead here.
Working our way up the chain.
Yeah. Guard is, as kind of mentioned already, ridiculously powerful across all the speedrun categories. It's so good to just be able to guaranteed prevent someone that you care about from taking damage at all, regardless of what
Anybody's
the
also
attack is.
noticing just how kind of visually similar this game is to another certain game called Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I believe they were made by the same team. And the Mystic Quest does have a guard mechanic too, but it's considerably less useful there just because you only have two characters at max, and when you have 4, like in this game, there's a lot more strat options where guard is useful.
Yeah. You got the guest characters, you got your jump, you got your guard mechanic, you have your excellent soundtrack, and they're both top-notch speedruns, so
Absolutely.
Good job, team. Good job, team.
100% skill based.
Absolutely.
Got my pixie.
Oh yeah.
You got Chaos Key. Sorry, Key Chaos.
We
And
did it.
since the pixie, like I mentioned a bit ago, has an extremely high agility stat, that actually does make it possible for me to run away from mushrooms if I get them. I'm still going to save periodically, just because I can still fail, but I'm not going to be saving quite as aggressively. Like there, I just ran away from one.
Just another one of the confusing parts trying to play this casually is figuring out what the stats of all the things you've turned into are.
Yeah.
The only memory I can recall about playing this game casually is I don't even remember how far I was, but like eating a robot part and then attacking, being like, I'm so weak, and then eating like a meat and attacking again. Like, I'm so weak, like why would I ever do any of this?
Exactly.
It's the stupidest game ever. But it's so deep.
Yeah, that's why the only one
I actually
like,
remembered to hit my split for Ashura too, and I'm a little over 4 minutes behind my PB, owing pretty much exclusively to Dogra.
I'm pretty sure that's all because your characters aren't named one character letters.
Yeah, that too.
100% of the time loss. Literally hours.
Sometimes
it's all about keeping the
you
marathon
aim
on
too
schedule. I do like Crow's suggestion of naming this entry into Chaos's Castle the Chaos Dunk. Alright, so this is a pretty rough dungeon, but more so casually if you're actually going to be fighting this stuff, because like those mask enemies there I think have an AoE fire attack. And then we've got, like we've kind of been building up, the most difficult boss in the run at the top of this.
It can either be pretty straightforward or really, really, really impossible, depending on what he gives you.
Yeah, this dungeon sucks. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I mean, probably the biggest single reason why Chaos is such a rough fight is because he has an attack called Quake that hits your whole party, and we do not have any means of party healing yet.
And it's not like a slow, like, whittle down AoE thing that, like, after a while you have to start thinking about, like, 2 Quakes or something like that, you're dead already.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty brutal, and you don't have great ways to deal with it. Not even the gold glove will save you, but it will help.
So now that I'm in the above ground section of Chaos's Castle, it's time to resume the save scumming, because there's a monster here called a Horus that looks kind of like an Egyptian hieroglyph, which is one of those super high agility monsters, so since I won't be able to run away, I'm just going to reset if I get a Horus.
No, that pickup's a good pickup. It's kind of like a mid-tier armor, but also adds to agility as well. So you got the 2-item boost to that now.
Going with the theme of just all the stuff we're getting being either agility or status focused for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I did play around a little bit with like routing in some extra armor upgrades just for better defense stats, and found that it just didn't matter at all as far as like how many attacks from the early bosses I could survive.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you're mitigating, like, 60 damage or something that it would take for you to take 2 of them. It's a little much. But we do have a hot fire shield for ice immunity, but more importantly, probably better magic defense. This dungeon definitely has some good stuff that's worth your while to get. This stuff even used to get picked up in 90% a long time ago as well. But then you stopped caring. Just go
In a lot of
for
cases,
it, man.
even the stuff we don't use, we can just sell.
Yeah, very true.
So that was the aforementioned Horus, and I just demonstrated. I mean, like one thing that definitely impresses me about Baku Zero, who's got the Japanese version record by quite a bit, is that when I watched one of his runs, he was able to tell before the sprites even finished forming that it was Horus's and reset his console immediately. All right, we got our big boy here.
All right, let's do this.
Again, like we said, the beasts have they use weapons worse than other people, but giving them explosive, the TNT doesn't matter as much. So it's like she'll be able to do damage if she has free turns. Just some quick inventory rearranging.
And I really don't want to get ambushed by Chaos too, because he always does Quake on the first turn. So if he ambushes me, which he didn't, fortunately.
Yo, What a god.
Actually, they're not. And here he's guarding and healing immediately because, like you said, it always does get Quake turn 1, and so he knows it's coming.
But after turn 1, he goes off script, and I just have to deal with whatever he throws at me.
I mean, you can see how clutch that Quake immunity is. It's like, you know, like a third of the damage, basically. Pretty hot.
Guard is good because you can protect your low HP people. Like, if they die and you have to revive them, obviously you lose a lot of turn. But if you guard them, you're guarding them from the start of the turn, so there's no way they can die. You know, your agility doesn't really matter because the guard happens at the start of the turn. Nice crit.
It's not going to be an insta reset, but if he keeps that up, I'll have to become one at some point.
Obviously, again, we're pretty limited on elixirs at this point. We only have 3, so we can only revive people 3 times.
But fortunately, he gave me a free turn by defending, which does cut down the damage I'm doing a little bit, but getting free turns on Chaos is very, very nice. Because I can just go all out without having to kind of healing or defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow whittle down, no matter how you swing it, so the safer you can be, the better off you're going to be, for sure. There's just no way to cut through 4,000 hit points fast when whoever can attack is dealing, you know, 150 damage or maybe 200 damage.
You see there, he took off the TNT and put on the PSI when he went to heal. Because again, the PSI dagger has agility, so he just wants to be as fast as possible when he's trying to heal, so that he can get the heals off before Chaos gets a turn. That'll be happening a lot throughout the run. There's a lot. That's kind of why he has him in the first slot, because he's gonna be swapping them all the time.
Yeah, that 6 agility is nothing to scoff at all. It makes all the difference.
He really does not like Glory right now.
He does not.
Definitely not the most friendly Chaos fight I've ever seen.
But like,
I did
definitely not
3
the worst
practice
either.
fights before this run, and they all went pretty well, so I was fully expecting him to break it out, stuff like this.
He can
That's your
also turn to
problem.
stone too.
Oh
That's
my
also something else he
God.
can do, which is why we bought items that cure that a long time ago.
Yeah. You always kind of like a handful. 3 relaxes, 5 softs, right? You don't need a bunch, but you definitely need a few at least, just to make sure. Unfortunately, you can't turn the thing here. You can't make him too soft to live. Just gotta get him down the.
We'll make them
the
too soft to
old-fashioned
live
way.
later, don't worry. Fortunately, being resistant to Quake doesn't make her resistant to stone.
What a fight.
At least he's not just like spamming Quake.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's actually like not going that bad. Like it's kind of looks a little annoying, but hasn't
Kind of
been
on
too...
life support now, though.
Yeah.
Because if I
No.
well, that's interesting.
Kind of unfortunate.
That'll do it. Oh man, it was
How do we deal with that?
It was not bad enough.
Well, that's going to
Shoot.
create some interesting challenges for my leveling, but that is something I did practice for dealing with too. So I'm going to split my save just in the case of crisis, but we'll
Like we said a long time ago, we want them to be the same level because of the way the evolution works. Every time they level up, they'll basically swap elements back and forth, and we want them to be different elements. So the way we normally do the run, having them at the same level makes it much easier and much more easy to get through.
I would have really preferred for those roles to be reversed too. By the way, for Virtus to be petrified and Sharon to be dead. Which will make more sense very soon.
Yeah.
And it's
He's
certainly
dead.
certainly not a fight you want to jump at. Like, oh, I'll just do it again. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just gotta roll with it. We're on the roller coaster, everybody. All of us together manipped the witch meat, but now all of us together had a dead glory. So we're gonna have to deal with it. Interesting.
That's new as far as a non-Horus enemy being like that. The walk out of this castle isn't any better, too. Like, well, I should say it's probably marginally better than in a normal run because Sharon is still a fairy, which she wouldn't be if she'd have gotten Chaos's experience. But it's not really going to change which fights I can't run from. But once the music changes, once I get back to the underwater segment, then there's no more Horuses, at least.
Where are we at right now? Falling down some holes. Nope. There we go.
So it's usually faster to get out a lot of these towers than it is to go into them because you can just jump down holes.
Easy peasy. Legs of steel. People always, you know, make fun of all these people who skip leg day. Not puwexil, though. Possibly the strongest calves I've ever seen in my life.
Alright, so for defeating Chaos, we get the future warp unit for the Talon, which lets us go home, basically, because all of your permanent characters, except for Sharon, are originally, or Glory in this case, are originally from, well, it's called the future, and yet it's the past for these guys. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's a time travel story.
It's present for the kids, but not the present where you started in, and I don't know. I'm already lost. But in this time era, you can see the differences. So, like, it's kind of neat, actually. The world map in all three eras is essentially the same. All the towns are in the same spots and stuff like that. But you see the landscape change across all three, and the biggest change, of course, is in the future when the majority of the world is flooded by the evil water jug, and you have to fly your way everywhere instead of being able to do a lot of walking.
Yeah, some of the places will change more than others, but this place pretty much still the same.
Also, I just derped too. I don't actually have to talk to Kronos again. I need to go talk to Granny instead. This is the one time you come here that you don't have to talk to Kronos for a story trigger.
You just wanted to show off that he's an old man now.
See?
Because I guess there's no children born in this city, because all of the people here have the old man or old woman sprite, pretty much.
We might see the evil water jug later, if we can find it.
Yeah. Might go on a field trip.
So, we have Granny.
We got the other kind of quote-unquote like story spell, if you will, float, dive, and now morph.
Yeah, which it is optional. Even in a glitchless run or playthrough, you don't need it in order to beat the game, but I do need it in order to get some shops, basically, that have equipment that I need. Should probably just fight these. Because, yeah, Sharon is not, or Glory is kind of behind on XP now. I think she's like 1,000 behind because of that death to Chaos. So, what I'm going to have to do in order to get back on my leveling route is actually to kill off Arthur as much as possible so that he does not get experience. Also, the wrong place because I'm.
This
talking
isn't any
instead of
percent. No,
thinking.
you can't go here yet.
Yes.
Have to go. We have to go get the password first.
Yes, less talking IRL, more talking in game. Yeah, I do need to go get. I do need to get a product placement password, as I call it, in order to be able to get into the base.
Password is Krispy Kreme. Who are my Power Rangers fans out there? Don't leave me hanging like that. But yeah, in any percent, so like you have to have a password to get past that guy, and he will not move out of the way. And not only that, but once he says you don't have the password, he'll actually push you back one tile, so you can't jump over him. Any percent has some manipulation to get an NPC in there, so that you get pushed into the NPC and thus go nowhere, and then you can jump over him. But again, we're not cheating in the speedrun, so we're doing things legit.
This is a no cheating speedrun. I agree.
Non-cheating.
A non-cheating, non-speedrun.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm just trying to mentally keep track of how much experience Sharon is getting with Arthur dead, so we'll call that about 300, and I want to get to about 1,000 before she's kind of basically caught up to where she should be if she hadn't died to chaos.
Oh
That's
yeah.
how I-
And I do want them to take out Curtis and Gloria too, just so that Sharon gets the full XP value of the fight. Unless she gets confused and I have to run away.
Ooh.
Yep. It's awkward, of course, because everybody revives after every fight when you're dead. But
Yeah. They do
there's
only
a way
have
around
one. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That'll come up a little bit. Right now, it's not really worth the resources. We're losing a little bit of time here, but it's okay.
this is why we said like most of the RNG is up to chaos. Again, like you wouldn't continue a run like this where you have your XP messed up and you have to do all this to fix it. If you were actually grinding for real time and not just playing the game.
So we'll call that about 600.
Boom. We are in there.
Oh, and I just looped around, I guess, instead of actually going where I need to.
Hey, this is a speedrun now.
Yes.
We're getting us back on schedule.
Yes, we are getting this marathon back on schedule.
Have you played this game before? No, I'm just kidding.
Looks like Myra. I had no idea where anything was.
Oh, dude, I'm just playing, man. My notes always have to give me directions. Go
yeah.
leftish and then up after that, and you'll get there.
My
Okay.
notes for this game absolutely have this. But let's read a quote from my notes here for this segment. West to Future Land and then south to Graves. There you go. That should help you out there, Puwex.
Much obliged. It's about 900. Yeah, 2701.
You had 5 HP left, so you were fine.
Yep, all part of the plan.
Carefully routed. For when we mess up the route, we just follow the other route. It's all good.
So you see that
Okay,
Sharon's
here's where we
actually-
really need to go.
see that Sharon's actually ahead of level now, but she's gotten less XP. That's partly because in this game, I think you can't level up more than once in a single fight.
Exactly,
That is
right?
correct.
So Arthur actually has more XP than he needs to be level 12 already, but because the only fight he survived was Chaos, he only leveled up once.
That's going to matter
But-
quite a bit for the evolution route in a few spots, too.
Yeah, we might be doing a little dicey. Things might be a little dicey, but we got this. That's our boy Myron. He's aged some. I know you can tell from the sprite that didn't change at all. but he's our boy still. He's not going to join us though. He's going to send you to your other boy Dion, who is one of the kids who accosts you in the very opening cutscene, and we're gonna go find him instead. Myron too old now.
It's become Myron Z.
But he didn't attack us from behind.
These
guys did though, so it's okay.
Yep, they made up for it.
Picking up the slack, dude. It's all a team effort. The entire game just teams up against whoever's running it. That's how it works.
This one, I'll just see what happens.
Nice one.
Alright, we're 15 minutes behind. We haven't killed Chaos yet. That's good.
We got this. Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. So, the setup for skipping the password is a little involved, but as you can imagine, having to head to town and then head back over to the other town and dealing with encounters and stuff, it's definitely faster to skip if you want to cheat, which we don't.
It doesn't really lose that much time even in Glitchless because you're going to be grinding experience at this point anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't really mind getting encounters too much.
I do also... I can't remember if you can buy it elsewhere too, but I did want that stone spell that I bought in New Dharm too.
There's a laser sword, who I believe's only purpose in life is going to be sold.
Yep. It's called, in the Japanese version, it's actually called a lightsaber too.
Well, we can't do that here, I'm sorry.
No, we can't. Alright, so now our painful days of being without a guest character are at an end for a while when Dion joins us.
Heck yeah!
Dion's pretty good. He's got some good spells for us to use.
Yeah, he's good. Good utility. He's got a strong cure. He's got a handful of spells. He himself is fairly strong physically. So he's pretty good across the board. He's not my favorite guest character, but I'm a fan overall. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff's going to be sold for monies now to get our funds back up. And then I believe we're going to buy some boots.
Yep.
And
in keeping with the theme.
Yeah, yep, go ahead.
It's more +5 agility equipment.
Yes, sir. Also, again, a nice little upgrade for your defensive stats. Not by very much at all versus the gold glove, if for the people who have it, but +5 agility is nice. This game's totally sci-fi. You have time travel, you have interdimensional travel, you have flying ships with guns, you have robots.
Nukes, you have rocket launcher.
You have nukes, yeah.
TNT. What else do you want?
There's actually guns in there, too. And you have monsters and magic.
Oh, we finally taught the shell spell. Hope everybody's ready for us to use it immediately.
Yep. Yeah, the reason I waited so long to actually teach somebody the shell spells in case of levels being split between the mutants, I want the lower leveled one to get it. I forgot that Curtis also missed Chaos's XP. Alright, so this right here I would say is probably the last really heavy bit of punishing RNG in the run, because like you've kind of seen over the past few fights I've been doing, the way experience works in this game is that when you win a battle, all of the XP value of the fight gets pooled and then evenly divided up among all characters that are alive and not petrified. And that, if we wanted to keep going with 4 characters, we'd be we'd have to do a lot of grinding, basically, in order to hit certain level targets that we need for boss fights in the remainder of the game. And then a way that we're going to short circuit that basically is by getting Curtis and Gloria petrified, because just being dead doesn't last very long in this game. After a battle, you get revived automatically with 1 HP. So, but petrify actually persists between battles. So, I'm going to intentionally get my 2 mutants petrified so that my Arthur and Sharon will get basically double XP from every fight for pretty much the whole rest of the game, and I'll just level up a lot faster.
Petrify is actually really strong. It's not even cured by going to an inn or anything. Just sticks around.
And like I think Bick mentioned a while ago too, spells that cause status effects in this game, if you use them on yourself, they actually cure it instead. So I can't just cast. It's not just as easy as casting stone on my own characters. I do have to get a monster, in this case these evil eyes, to use a petrify attack on them.
Okay.
And I get the god evil eye fight and a run with the boss fight
insane.
like that too.
Yo.
They're also not immune to stone, you know, just because why not?
We just made all the time lost back. Except not at all, but
Yep.
yo.
Also, what level is he right now? He should be level 12, I think.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
Just checking my notes here. Okay, so he's level 12. We should get what we need here. If not, I'm going to be using the. Okay, we're good. As I have to say, if not, we're going to be making my first ever trip to the Flush X.
Straight to the toilet.
Is anybody religious in the chat? Because we just let Jesus take the wheel and it worked. Definitely progress the meat.
Now the meats will progress themselves, and we don't have to worry about it too much.
Yep.
Autopilot meat.
Because unlike I think we've said a couple times now, unlike in Legends 1 and 2, you don't have to keep eating meat in order to evolve in this game. You just when you level up, you'll automatically transform into a more powerful beast form. And we've basically set it up now so that we just from leveling up, we're gonna get we're gonna hit all of the forms that we need when we need them. Also, they're still a little desynced, so I'm gonna try to get Arthur killed off here. If Sharon gets full XP from this fight, we should be good to go after that. Yet another reason why, if this was a serious PB attempt, I would have just ended it after Chaos, because of how much lasting damage that caused.
But the RNG manipulation, it got them all stoned immediately.
Yes.
Didn't lose 5 minutes on it.
Yeah, because my PB for about a year, actually, before I came back to this run to prepare for the marathon, lost, I think, literally about 5 minutes to getting petrified there.
Gained it all back. Unfortunately, we lost 10 minutes everywhere else.
Because this is a pure execution-based game. I mean, to be fair, there is. I mean, like the Chaos fight does. To get a fast time on Chaos, you do need some practice and knowledge in order to deal with what the game throws at you. But there's a lot of randomness along with that. Alright, so we're pretty much back in sync now, so I'm just going to keep the C-tile monster formations in the future are pretty much the most efficient way to grind levels at this point in the game, so I'm just going to scope out this beach for a while until I run out of tear gas, and then I'm going to go buy more. saw a
if you
little
like
cameo
grinding-
off screen there by Floatland, which is where we're actually going next in the story. But before we go there, I'm gonna be taking care of about probably 90% of the remaining level grinding that I need to do for the rest of the game. It just works out really well to grind for a while using tear gas here before moving on with the story. Because everything on these sea tiles is worth decent XP, and it all gets one shot by tear gas unless it defends.
Being able to kill them in a single round is so good.
It's very, very rare to actually see this fairy sprite too, just because I'm pretty much usually just still grinding, or I've already gotten past having this form for Arthur. Oops, I'm supposed to buy armor first. Alright, so I'm getting brooches, which give me poison resistance, and mage armor, which gives me confusion resistance, along with more tear gas.
We're buying some good stuff right now. Got some extra magic defense, we got some poison immunity going, we got some confuse immunity going, we got some... what else we got? Gonna have some speed helms someday in the future here. Bunch of tear gas. It's gonna be fantastic.
I am very short on money, though, just because I haven't really fought as much stuff as typical here because of all the level shenanigans.
We'll just go find a nice school again, then. Oh wait.
I did a little trick there too, just because you can only hold nine of an item type in your inventory at once, so I could only actually hold 9 tear gases at once. But because I bought a stack of them, equipped it, and then bought more, I was able to get around that.
It's also you also can't split like stacks of things in your inventory, so he wants to keep them separate too, so that he has 2 to use on a later boss.
You also can't check how many you have outside of battle too, which I find kind of strange. And as typical, we get the God Walk when we actually want encounters too.
Of course.
Or God Swim in this case.
I know that feel.
Go on a field trip to say hi to the Pure Land Water entity too.
Everybody's favorite evil water jug.
And for the fans, and for the new fans who've never seen what it looks like, let's go.
Well, anyone that was watching at the start of the game might have seen it, but
That's a big assumption, man.
if they were paying attention. They didn't know how awesome this game was yet then, so...
Yeah, it's during this whole grinding segment too that I'm farming for the meat drop for Arthur, but I ended up getting it very fast. But I mean, even though I do need an RNG-based drop here, it is very free because of just how many opportunities I get at it during this grinding segment.
Where are the one-step encounters at, though? The jug's right there.
Yeah, I mean in the lore of this game, the monsters are coming from the jug, basically. Like the jug is pouring water from another dimension that has monsters in it into our world, and you'd think it'd be kind of like FF8 run last night, where the monsters are coming into our world. There's lots of monsters, but sadly not the case here. How long is this grind? I am grinding up to level 17. I think I'm either 13 or 14 now. 14, okay. When I get to level... because I want to be level 18 before I fight Maitreya, who's the next boss. And I'm going to grind up to level 17, and then go to Floatland, and then fight encounters for level 18 on my way to Maitreya.
Footwind just keeps coming by and taunting you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get a level up so you can run faster and catch it. That's how it works.
Makes sense.
Now this,
I mean, you can already float.
Yeah, and then this grinding is also setting us up, in addition to kind of setting up the evolution route for the rest of the game, is also getting our agility stat and levels high enough so that ambushes and can't runs are not really going to be much of a threat too. Kind of combined with the fact that we're getting double XP on the 2 characters we're using for most of the rest of the game.
Yeah, this is all the rest of the grinding we'll have to do for the game is here until Maitreya. And we'll be pretty much caught up on levels and good to go.
I'd have to make a hitherto unseen second or third visit to buy tear gas too. That's also why I ran from that 4 enemy pack, just because it's worth less experience and money, and I'd still have to use the tear gas, so I'm gonna hold out for a bigger group, just because I'm running a little behind on my tear gas supply.
It's okay, there are no other monsters.
We're gonna have to make do. You'll never get into another encounter. So I mean, it's a little solid stretch of grinding. It's not bad, but for anybody who's maybe just coming in, there was a little snafu on an earlier boss that kind of messed up all the experience. So the time spent fixing it was, kind of added on to the grind that already still has to happen, unfortunately. The good news is that with stuff like tear gas, at least the fights go fast. It's just a matter of actually getting into the fights, which is the current problem right now.
Yeah. Because because for being a 2D tile-based RPG, the encounter system in this game is just really, really just odd compared to almost every other one from around the same time. Most 2D tile-based RPGs I've played, at least, you're pretty much always guaranteed to get an encounter after like a certain number of steps. Not really the case here, though, just because it's based on this kind of voodoo magic with frames.
Yeah, just another way that this game is very different from the other 2 in the series, even specifically, both of which have, in a sense, seeds that are with pre-planned encounters at certain steps. So, but this one's just completely different and super annoying. Hey, robot parts.
Yeah, because I know at least in Legend 2, there's like a seed that you get that's kind of, I guess, unchanged unless you reset the game, that spreads out encounters over like 256 steps and then just keeps repeating the loop.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm less familiar with Legend 1.
Kind of thing you see in most of the RPGs of this day, most tile-based ones, but this one's just gotta be unique. Gotta make everything hard for us.
At 15 or because when I hit level 16, I'm gonna head down to the head down to Moo for the last time to buy some stuff. Since you can't get Moo has been taken over by monsters in the future, so I'm coming here before I finish up the grinding, just so if I get encounters in here, I can use the XP. Alright, I'll give you guys and gals one guess as what speed helms do.
Is it the same as speed armor?
Why, yes.
Oh, baby.
I guess they make you immune to morph.
They make you immune to speed, so speed run's over now.
We actually do not get any lost magic in the run. We do get lost magic used on us fairly heavily by endgame bosses, though.
It just takes too long to get all the sages.
Yo,
It's not really any use.
and then the fast spell is very akin to Shell. Instead of plus 10 to defense, it's plus 10 to your attack, and again, it's stackable as well. So if you got the time to just sit there and pump yourselves up, then you can definitely do that. And then the X kick is specifically a martial arts weapon attack type thing, which beasts get a slightly higher multiplier on than every other sort of thing.
I'm just gonna pop in and get a few more tear gases, just because I'm still ways off from level 17, and I've only got 4 left. And I do want to save one each on Arthur and Sharon for the Maitreya fight. Hopefully 6 usable on fights will be good enough.
Not the
Because
right monsters.
Yeah, we're not the right kind of monsters.
Monsters are racist?
They're monsters.
Monster-ists? Okay.
Yeah.
Speciesist?
Yeah. You know, video games sometimes reflect the events of real life, you know what I mean? So, you know.
But it's okay, we're gonna make everything better.
Absolutely. We're
We're gonna
saving
kill all
the world.
We're gonna kill all the monsters, and no one will have to be together anymore.
So for this grinding too, by the way, there's little minor optimizations I'm trying to do. Like I'm trying to have the character that's faster because of what beast race they are at the time do the tear gas. I'm not having both of them do it because if one of the monsters defends, then they'll survive the first one, and I'll just waste a second one. So if one of them defends, I'll just have Dion finish them off on the next turn. And I'm having Dion guard whoever's tear gassing too, just in case they get outsped. And there's a couple monsters here that can do like sleep and confuse. So I want Dion to tank that if it happens. Alright, 1, maybe 2 more fights, and we should be good to put on our rocket belt, as it's called in the Japanese version. Pretty much all of the items and equipment in this game just have much kind of tastier names in the Japanese version because of being able to just fit longer names in Japanese language.
Yeah, dang compressed languages.
Like pretty much all of the martial arts moves are named after like wrestling moves, like the kind of blanking on what the X kick is, but the smother, which is the next level that I get, is called the Cobra Twist in Saga 3.
Oh man, that's so cool. Freaking English.
So we get like punch, kick, and judo, karate.
Smother, knee butt. That's so good, dude.
I know what Vic's new favorite technique is.
Hopefully we'll be hitting 17 after this with the enemies.
Yeah, any percent uses might use the tom-tom, the robots, yeah. And yeah, we use beasts. We actually do use our mutants a little bit, but not for a while. Like right now, they're little statues. We're just kind of lugging them along.
Oh, you know what? I kind of didn't get the radio yet.
Ooh.
Yet another thing I forgot to do because of just being super mega distracted by all of the leveling related shenanigans.
Yeah, you actually have to go through the plot sometimes. Pick up plot related items.
You gotta go through the plan. The game doesn't not let you go through the plan where you get the rocket that flies you to the float land, but you also need the radio to talk to the
to be able
doctor.
to be able to get back afterwards.
Yeah. Well, so you can hear more of the plan. Yeah, and then you also have to get the remote later on so you can get off.
Plan
But
is
you don't.
this.
Yeah. Are you here to hear the plan? Here's the plan.
Yeah, first I thought I would like, did I really try to use the rocket on the wrong tile? But nope. Game actually stops you from doing it if you haven't hit all the triggers.
You hear the plan, you rocket yourself, you get the remote, you get the ship, and then you hear the plan again. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know anything about this game.
I believe this game is actually programmed well enough that you can't soft lock yourself on Floatland by not having the radio.
That's good to know. Alright, now you take a rocket ship to the moon. Oh, sorry, wrong game. Floatland. And then you get another hot town where we're gonna buy some speed armor.
Gee, I wonder.
Yeah, and then also some earrings, which give us paralysis resistance.
Yeah. And again, of course, some extra magic defense and evade.
So, like I mentioned a bit ago, I do need to be level 18 before getting to Maitreya for my strats for her to work. So, just going to be fighting encounters I get along the way in order to top that off.
Yeah, instead of running around in a circle in one place, we're now going to new places.
I'm gonna kind of, yeah, I do have to kind of decide on the fly whether to do Tear Gas plus Quake or try to actually use Petrify on all of them, just depending on what formation I get. Because like on that one, Medusas are immune to Petrify, so I did that. But if I got a group that didn't have Petrify immunity, then I'd just use the Petrify spell plus a Stone Gaze attack that Sharon currently has, being a Medusa.
Mutants are currently useless.
Yeah.
They suck up XP if they're not petrified, so we just have them petrified, and they'll be like that for a while.
The grind would take way too long with them, as mentioned before, but honestly, like, they're not needed either, really, to pump out the damage that you need. They'll be, like, kind of useful later, but right now, it's like, you really only need 2 characters doing stuff anyway.
I was actually like curious if it would be possible to do like a 3-character route with this and have it work out to be similar or faster because of how much the HP sponges the bosses are. But I don't know if it would work out or not.
It'd be an interesting thought, and you know, I don't know how applicable any percent would be to, you know, Glitchless, but even then, like even like robot parts aside, like gearing up 2 people is already enough. And, like, third person, like,
Exactly.
Is that really worth the time? Like, I don't know.
There are a couple different route options for this part of the game too. Like I actually passed up an opportunity to get the exit spell, which is extremely useful when I was back in Viper City, and I'm just holding out to get it for free in Maitreya's Tower. And then because I don't because I need encounters to get up to level 18, I just walk out of that temple there, and also pick up an ATM missile to sell later.
Okay, we just got an ATM machine. We're gonna shoot bills at people. It's gonna be good.
Just like in FF5, money is gonna
exactly.
carry the speedrun.
This isn't any percent. We don't just throw money at all our problems.
But we'll throw money at some of our problems.
It does help.
Yeah, we're gonna be what is it, dosh tossing our problems like in Dragon Quest VIII.
There's kind of 2 objectives in this area here. Puwexil just completed the first one just a couple minutes ago, getting the remote for the ship, which you can't use yet right now. And then you gotta climb this mountain and then climb another tower so that you can battle Maitreya, one of the, like, evil lieutenants or whatever. Kind of going around to all the different stores and fighting all the store managers, you know. We're not fighting team leads anymore. We're traveling a little bit. Slowly working our way up to the regional manager.
What is the complaint that we have with the store here that we're trying to solve? You just don't like the design, decorations, or something.
They're giving away too much free water, and it's hurting the bottom line.
Oh, Walmart's moved in and they're selling the water too cheap. Alright.
Walmart has come in from another dimension, and their prices are turning people into monsters. And then that prompted someone to build the world's first time machine to fix it all.
Yeah, it might be about as good, as well conceived as the plot of this game. Honestly,
I was just about to say it's at least as good, if not better, than the actual story of this game.
And Medusas are immune to petrify, so since I no longer have any excess tear gas, I just have to use the swords. Not the case with these mobs, though.
I haven't played FF15. I can't believe there's a time-traveling dog in it and then it just got spoiled. Unbelievable.
Making with the encounters, but it's giving me not the one I want to see for winning fast.
we don't need to go fast. This is a speed run.
Yeah.
Monster Tire. Everybody has a use.
Alright, there we go.
Boom. We got Loki, fresh off of Thor Ragnarok. And we got Medusa. We got a little healing square. It's all good. Everybody's looking good.
And fortunately, the healing square does not remove Petrify.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, and even if you had gone to the inn or something too, they would still be stoned.
Yeah, the only things that cure stone are the stone spell, soft potions, and the heal spell.
Alright, since it keeps coming up, I'm going to throw out an opinion to the chat right now. And this, I do not represent either Lin 1 or puwexil or RPG Limit Break or High Spirits. But,
or even yourself, too, most of the time.
Yeah, that's probably true. What if the Dodgers lost and everybody was happy? Like me. What if?
Again, picking up stuff for selling later, and then also on the 8th floor of this tower is where I get my exit spell, which, like in a lot of Square RPGs, just takes you straight out of a dungeon-type area, but like in the other hot speed game, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, you can use it during battle, too, to basically just kind of warp enemies away. And I think it works on pretty much literally any non-boss enemy in the game for the cost of you getting no experience or money from it.
You don't get no money or experience. You actually get 0 money and experience. Excuse me. It's a very important distinction. Yeah, have we been up 64 floors yet? Is it time to go to Zerma's?
I might be a little short. I think we might be at 5. No, we were at 8.
Questing for glory. Nice promotion for the marathon there by our boy Dion.
That was a setup if I ever saw.
Dang. Perfectly routed and executed. So instead of Dion waiting for everybody, chilling, if he was actually concerned, he just goes on without you. And then tries to fight Maitreya one-on-one. Like my boy Genya23, but just like with Genya23, it was the wrong move to make.
You'll be fine. Hidden door, okay.
That is very okay. Because if you actually go all the way to the top, there's a dead end with some treasure, but not the boss we need to kill.
If you actually weren't paying attention to the cutscene, you might not have noticed that the hidden door was there.
That's
You
very
do have to
true.
walk in front of that tile. You wouldn't otherwise have a particularly compelling reason to go to.
Our inventory looks good now. We've got like some missiles, some guns.
Got our ATM.
got an ATM around. A couple statues of some mutants we knew when we were kids.
Life is good. Upgrading to the earring for that confusion or no paralysis resistance.
Yes, sir. Getting all beefed up with all our speed equipment. Our better equipment in general. And we're gonna two-man this boss here.
One of those is actually a woman. Although I think they're kind of like switched right now.
I was just about to say, the guy is the girl, and the girl is the guy. Einhorn is Finkel, dude. And Finkel's Einhorn!
All makes sense.
Yeah, a little quick tear gas here to take out the ads, but also still damaging the boss at the same time, so very nice, very useful.
Here's our usage of the spark spell that we bought who knows how long ago. Except of course it missed, because why not?
And then a little fast in there.
I'm playing this a little more conservatively than I'd like to, just because of only having one elixir left after chaos.
I think that I did, yes.
Arthur right now is pretty much guaranteed to go after Maitreya. I'm just kind of waiting for an opening for he did not have to heal. So thus far I'm not really getting.
Once he can get Spark to actually land on Maitreya, she'll be blinded and can actually miss things, and it'll be a lot easier to deal with.
There we go.
As we know, even things like spells can miss in this game, because
Yes.
it's a good game.
There's accuracy for that, there's evasion for magic.
I like to think of this as being Arthur laying down the tail whip on Maitreya too, since I'm using X kick and I kind of don't have legs at the moment.
This is FF3, we have Terra on the left there and Locke on the right, and fighting Kefka here.
Kutan,
So like we
second
mentioned,
from
yeah.
left.
So like we kind of mentioned when I bought them, the fast spell doesn't actually make you faster as far as like increasing your agility stat, but it increases. I think it just basically it's kind of meant to be like Final Fantasy 1, where it increases the number of hits you get per like round of combat. So I think it just adds. I think it's +5 to your attack power every time you do it, and since it stacks together, I can keep doing it until I get to pretty obscene levels of DPS. Even though Maitreya has 6,000 HP, which is 50% more than Chaos had, this is both a much faster and much easier fight, just because of just having access to much better weapons and other resources.
Yeah, exactly.
You also don't have to keep your mutants alive.
Yes.
Not struggling to keep everybody alive, everybody's better equipped, more HP, everybody's stronger. So I'm kind of feeling we were having first hour or so of the run. Very, very different now. Obviously still RNG involved, but a lot less about like, oh my god, I'm gonna die or I have to reset. Probably a little bit more about just time swings here and there, which you're not really gonna worry about too much in a marathon run.
We blew up this sacred shrine or whatever.
Yeah.
Now Talon's free.
You just blow up the temple, there's a Talon, and you got the remote so you could call it over. And you didn't know that you could call it over until the dude in the radio told you the plan. And then
Yep.
The good thing you picked up that unit that lets it move back in the past or whatever. Oh wait.
Yep.
then Dion here got all beat up, and Doctor here is gonna fix up our boy Dion, all nice and good.
Okay, Dion's got a surprise now.
Dion is perfectly normal, completely unchanged. Just hold it healed up and ready to do battle.
Also, sometimes NPCs get in your way.
And then the other unit that was picked up was the X-Plane, which is going to allow us to not travel through time, but to travel dimensions. We're taking the fight to the evil water jugs right in their very home. We're going to Walmart headquarters.
I think the subtitle for the Japanese version is it's Saga 3 Champion of Time and Space, and we're declaring ourselves the champion of time now, so we got to work on the space part.
What? Freaking English, dude!
Yeah.
That's the greatest name I've ever heard.
Saga 3 sounds like such a better game.
It's got better glitches for an any percent category too, just because there's this glitch you can do with
God.
cyborgs that lets you get stronger with less robot parts needed.
Just reset now and get Saga 3 in here. Man,
Get, get me out of America right now, dude.
I think
All
I
this
think
time.
I want to say the Saga 3 any percent record just with a rough timing conversion is maybe like 15 to 20 minutes faster than the English version, and that's only partially due to XP differences.
All
Yeah,
this time, I could have been a Saga 3 champion of time and space, dude. Holy crap.
It's not too late. Saga 2017 could still happen.
I can't do it, dude. I've been affected too much, man.
And just selling all this crap that we've been carrying around and picking up.
Selling
don't
the
need anymore.
ATM.
Yeah, oh, it had money in it.
Oh,
This
goodness.
diamond gear I'm buying is extremely useful too, because it gives resistance to thunder, ice, and wind.
And honestly, overall, Diamond is like pretty dang close to the top tier of armor stuff anyway. So it's all good stuff.
And finally start stocking up on some elixirs. Again, it's like one of the only ways you can revive people.
Little town here playing the boss music and invaded by mummy cats that turned everyone to stone. No big deal.
Just normal things in X-Plane.
Yeah, we just hanging out. Just, walking over to the little catnip tree.
We'll walk over to the catnip dungeon.
Yep. Oh, a little. I very, very highly recommend checking out this map I just linked in chat for this area too. You'll like it.
Oh no, spam bots are posting links in chat. Where's the mods?
Hear that? I don't trust this character.
You do need even though you can fight and kill these cats. They don't that doesn't cause their sprites to disappear, so you do need the catnip in order to be able to get to Fenrir, the next boss. I stroll up the virtual cat nose here to get to Fenrir. Actually downgrading my armor back to the mage armor too, just because that gives me confused resistance.
Having Kree turn instead of being confused it's definitely worth it.
Oh yes, Fenrir ain't no joke. either. Probably the first boss fight, even in any percent, where like despite how quote unquote OP you are as robots, this guy's actually pretty hard.
Also fast, and whatever, and he also always gets an unexpected attack, pretty much.
Yeah, I have never not gotten ambushed by Fenrir. Even the notes I found on Baku Zero's website just said, basically said that this is expect a ambush here. We're gonna be using pretty much the same general strat as that we did on Maitreya, which is to kind of buff up one of our characters' attack power using the fast spell, and then just start going to town with our strongest martial arts type move, which is the weapon type that beasts get a kind of a natural bonus with. Let's miss.
You'd hit 2 times. Hit X2! Exclamation point.
And Fenrir is not immune to poison, so casting. That's why I bought the Venom spell way back in the second town, just so that I can get an extra 99 damage a turn. He is being really nice to me too. He could have killed one of my characters like 3 times over by now if he did different moves.
99 damage a turn doesn't seem like a lot, but remember these bosses have a lot of HP. They take a lot of time. It does add up to at least probably a turn or 2.
It's crit.
Yeah, the mutants are stoned for a little bit. But also, yeah, they're not going to do anything useful in the fights anyway, so.
Yeah. You don't got the time or the money to be buffing up 4 people. Just stick with 2. Something.
Yeah, money's pretty tight, so I mean, you see how you keep buying new equipment of various kinds, and if you had to equip like more characters too. Just all works out better.
You're wondering how Fenrir is able to actually see and fight us without eyes. Sorry, I don't have any answer for you. Maybe like all those skulls around him that he's holding and around his necklace are the key.
Yeah, got like 20 eyes right there. Well, I'll see what the problem is.
Can see super well.
At least he's got a mouth. That's important.
Yes, mouths are kind of a big thing in this game, as we'll be seeing for the next round of bosses.
What if those were actually eyes on top of his head, not ears?
Dang, that was a god Fenrir fight. Just gained a minute 4 on my PP because of that.
Yeah, back on track. World record pace.
The comeback starts now.
Only got another 12 minutes to make up. Easy peasy.
Oh well, just skip the underworld. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
You were outing
New
on
rule.
the fly.
Just change the category rules. Barrier skip is now allowed.
Yeah, any percent, no gold underflow, yes, barrier skip.
No major glitches.
Except for barrier skip.
I'd say
Come on.
gold overflow is less major than barrier.
Please. Yeah, I was about to say, all you do is move 1 tile over. How is that a major glitch? Please.
All you do with the gold underflow is get stolen from. You don't have to do anything.
It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
You gotta manipulate the right encounter. Oh man, see, we're already cheating already.
I contend that speedrunning is cheating.
Alright, that's fair.
Alright, so now we finally get reunited with Faye, who was the other kid that kind of is from our hometown. That was a kid when in the present.
She's definitely my favorite guest character.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but her name in the Japanese version is incredible too. It's Nemesis.
Sis.
What I've learned from this commentary session here is that the Japanese version is infinitely better.
Oh, I hate all localization now, dude.
There is also a remake of this game that's Japanese only too, sadly, for the Nintendo DS. It actually, I think it changes up quite a bit too. Like there's a second, like Zagor has a second form where he like merges with the water jug.
Does he open more mouths?
Checking my notes to make sure I don't sell anything important. Now we finally have a means of group healing, although it's Cure A's only really kind of... It's not even really as good as Cure 2 is single target, but it's AoE, which is the important part.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. And as you get later in the game, when the spells start hitting like really hard, it's really not going to do much for you. But right now, it's still pretty nice.
Yeah. My normal run, I would also buy a scarf at that armor shop there, which is petrify resistance, and the mirror shield is silence resistance. But just because I'm running I'm a little lower on money than I'd like to be, just because of all of those shenanigans before going to Floatland, I'm just going to choose to find a scarf in an upcoming dungeon instead. It would be faster to just buy it, but just for marathon safety, so I have more money for elixirs, I'm gonna skip buying it.
And like we said earlier, actually has, because of the way the leveling in this game works, you can only get one level a fight. Actually got enough experience from Fenrir to get another level that he doesn't have. So just fighting one fight here to basically get any amount of experience and level up again.
I could get 0. In fact, I could, if I cast Exit on every enemy in the fight, I would get 0 experience, and I would still gain a level, which is pretty hilarious. I really want that level because that puts Sharon into Liz Duke form, and Liz Duke is, I believe, the second beast that has access to a really useful ability called Blitz, which is it's an attack that does piddly damage, but it lowers the enemy's agility by 10, which is really important as far as just making boss fights consistent when I can make bosses slow enough that I'm guaranteed to outspeed them for healing.
It makes a huge difference, for sure. You can never really predict what the boss is going to do, but knowing that you're always going to go first is huge. So it's always a danger in any percent, and that's what makes it hard, but not an issue anymore.
For the most part, there is one boss that I'm not going to have Blitz for, where it would be useful to have, and that's just kind of a trade-off of having it for harder bosses afterwards instead. Because remember the way the evolutions work is that you set it up by in this case using meat, but then you automatically change at every level up. So it's routed as far as just each boss that I have access to Blitz for, as far as with the kind of the sweet spot for how many times I use it until I've kind of made them slow enough that I'll always outspeed them. And for Guha, it's 3. Take off 30 agility.
So
I do like what somebody in my chat compared Guha to the other night, which was a mouth elemental.
I miss the good old days when didn't have poison immunity items for this guy, and you would just lose epic amounts of time because of this poison message. Yeah.
Ace poison.
Truly was my Lonzy. It was ridiculous.
I also do want to pop enough fast so that I'm doing over 1,000 damage per hit with Smother too. And then once I've hit that point, Faye is just going to start attacking too, just because she's got a pretty good axe that does 440 a hit unless they're guarding.
She has a good assortment of spells that are strong, and she herself is also really strong. She's a really good character for sure.
Faye was poison.
And there it is.
At least there isn't a message that says damaged by poison.
Yeah, that takes like 5 seconds to convey the to let you properly experience the raw emotion that is knowing that you took damage from poison.
Yeah, but when you had 5 characters poisoned, dude, it's basically the same thing. You just sit and watch all their numbers one by one tick, dude. It's incredible.
Should be my last fast I need, and then it's gonna roll with it. I am very glad too that the boss music in this game is so good too, just because you get to hear it for a lot of loops during these fights against bosses with like 10,000 health, like this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, the boss HP in this game is madness.
Yeah.
Like, their HP is gonna shoot up, but the damage output isn't gonna change like that much. Like, you'll have both people doing over 1,000 eventually, but then your bosses have, you know, like 30,000 HP, so, you know, whoop-de-doo!
I believe his anatomy is mouths.
That is correct. Yeah, Mario and Luigi was literally right before this run, so it's not like VODs for that stuff's gonna be up immediately.
Should be a VOD up because we broke stream before this run.
There's like the, like the prior broadcast.
You can just watch the old cat. The highlight might not be up then.
Yeah,
And
but there's
High Spirits and company have been getting the VODs exported to YouTube pretty promptly too.
If you can't wait, it should be at the end of the last video.
Alright, and then for defeating Guha, we get Sage Boozy, who we need as kind of for a plot reason. But we also get our first Mystic Sword. You want to explain what Mystic Swords do, Nick?
Yeah, sure. So there's 4 of them in the game. Not all 4 are going to be gotten, but there's a couple of cool things about them. So the number 1, their weapon power is definitely high, but the other thing that they're really great about is they have a carrier, so like fire, thunder, or whatever. They actually have the Mystic carrier, which ultimately, like, all your main baddies are going to be weak to, so you're really going to end up doing a crap ton of damage with Mystic Swords. They really help carry you throughout the game, especially casually, especially if you get a bunch of them. Because again, they are very, very strong, and then apply extra damage just because of the Mystic property. The Durand is the first one, and he'll be rocking that for a while, and then after this dungeon, he'll also get the Excalibur. Or sometime after this dungeon, sorry, I don't even know my order anymore, because you don't cheat. But again, following along with what's been happening, right, we're only really working with 2 people, so you only need 2 Mystic Swords. So those are the easiest ones that are to get that are out of the way, and they're both good anyway. So
The other ones take a while.
yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta go really out of your way.
These are basically just to get the Durandal, as I call it, and then the Excalibur are just given to you as part of the story. But the Emperor and Masamune swords you have to actually do side quests for. And both of those swords are actually weaker than the Excalibur, too.
Yeah, the Excalibur is the best one. And Durandal is the second to worst, but I mean it's still really good. And again, it's right there. You don't go out of your way at all.
Yeah, I mean the Excalibur. You might be able to just leave after talking to Sage Boozy, but you do have to get the Excalibur in order to get into the underworld if you're not using the barrier skip.
There's no real reason, it's just you do.
Yeah. Well, there is a reason from a game design standpoint, but not for it doesn't make any sense at all from a story point.
Yeah, not for the plot. This boss is one that if this was any percent, there's a glitch you can do on it. You can overflow his HP because...
If he uses this move he just used on me right here, when he's got really high but not quite max HP that'll actually overflow his health and cause him to die instantly. And my favorite thing about that glitch too was that it was accidentally discovered by a Japanese glitchless runner on a run that was on record pace.
Oops.
Yeah.
Hey
What a
guys, I
way to
beat the
go
boss.
out.
Again, once we've gotten enough fasts on our attacker to put him at about 1,000 per hit, then I'm just gonna roll with it and have just attack and heal as needed. And in keeping with the theme of mouths too, Dahak has 2, and I've never really quite understood how this is supposed to work from like a anatomy perspective.
Yes. That's how it works. It just does.
Yeah, so you move on from Guha, 10,000 HP. I mean, yeah, we got like one better sword, but the damage increase wasn't like that much. And then we jump up 6,000 HP to 16k, so you're gonna be kind of seeing that. Like, Quix is gonna be getting some new stuff, but the boss HP is just gonna keep jumping up to like just outrageous levels. You know, he might be safe in some circumstances, but they just take a while no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, because I mean, once Chaos is dead, I mean, almost the whole rest of the game is just it's pretty consistent. I mean, bosses, I don't really have to grind anymore for the most part, other than dealing with cases where I need an extra fight to finish off a level up, and there isn't a whole lot that bosses can do to just flat out kill me if I have the right setups, but these fights do just take a while because of just how much health they have. I don't really think these fights in this run are really that much slower than they would be in a casual playthrough if you were properly leveled too.
This one's also exacerbated by the fact that you fight 2 bosses almost in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you do
Literally
actually
back to
have
back.
the option to come here before going to Mount Hasbid, but if you actually fight Dahak first, then you're not able to actually get into this place without having rescued Sage Boozy. I found that out the hard way as a kid, too, just because I couldn't beat Guha, so I decided to just come here instead, and then, whoops, gotta go to Guha before you can really do anything else anyway.
And everyone should recognize this dungeon from Mystic Quest, because it looks exactly the same.
Bone Dungeon. Flamerous is coming up. We're gonna get, you know, the Quake
Gonna
spell.
get Epic owned.
Yeah. Keep some seeds, you know.
No, this is glitchless. We can't do
Oh,
seeds.
damn it. Dang it.
Vic,
Yeah.
please.
I don't play glitchless anything, dude.
I mean, and we call this glitchless, but in this game there's really only 2 things that we don't do. Well, I guess technically 3 if you count encounter manipulation. The two things that are kind of considered glitches that aren't done in this category are the gold underflow, which is definitely the more significant one, just because that really changes the whole nature of the game as far as how you get stronger. And then also the next one is actually would be relevant coming up in like 10 minutes or so, which is a clip that lets you kind of skip a couple of caves through a sequence break.
Man, I wish I still had my OG notes for this game because.
Well, I guess there is the Dahak glitch too.
Yeah.
You should see my notes for how to do these puzzles because I was too dumb to figure that out.
Oh god, yeah. I remember you doing the puzzles. That was a good time.
You just see me stand there for like 30 seconds, like reading through my writing. This was good. It's good.
Glitchless is a little bit over an hour slower than the any percent run, at least on US.
Yeah. Hard to say exact since no one's exactly grinding out glitchless like any percent was grinded out. But
Yeah, like the
somewhere around
Japanese. I want to say the Japanese record, if you convert it to our timing method, is 217, 218, something like that, and then my PB, which is currently the fastest time of all of 2 people that have that have done this run at least once, is 242.
I have done this run at least once. That is correct.
Not more than once, though, right? I'm not tripping, right?
No, just once.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's where the 1 in Lin 1 means.
It's
One
true.
and done. That is my life.
That's true, though. 1 run and world record, so that's all he needs.
I think the Japanese leaderboard for Nico has like 4 or 5 times posted for Saga 3 Glitchless, and all of I think 1 for Saga 3 any percent.
It's interesting seeing like the differences in the J and the U communities and a lot of things like that. They definitely like their glitchless runs more than.
They also
we
like
do over
running
here.
this on Super Game Boy 1, which I find
Oh yeah.
kind of odd too.
I mean, it's technically official hardware.
Yeah.
Just runs faster than all the other hardware.
Including
I mean,
the actual Game Boy.
Yeah.
We can play on IQ. Why not Super Game
Exactly.
Boy 1?
Yeah, well, Zelda's a whole other bucket of worms. I mean, they allow VC.
Alright, now for the best field sprite in the game coming up here.
Absolutely.
God, I love that sprite so much.
Just bask in
it.
the glory that is Barney the dinosaur.
This sprite is why my splits have the field sprites.
Look at that terrifying monster, dude.
And instead we get a mouthy worm.
That's
Definitely looks
so
nothing
good.
at all like the field
Yeah.
sprite.
Yeah.
Probably should have healed before coming in here, but we should be okay.
You got sword. You don't need to heal.
Yeah. Guys, in what, like 3 rounds?
Yeah. Fortunately, maybe the game designers had a little pity on throwing a 10,000 HP boss and then a 16,000 HP boss at you in rapid succession. So now we get a 4,000 HP boss. So this is a pretty short fight.
He's got 1 mouth, but does have 4 jaws, just in case. And he still killed 1 of your guys, because why not?
He's worth a metric ton of experience too, so I really don't want any of my team to miss that.
Oh, the link is wrong, dude. They spelled my name wrong. And they spelled Lynn's name wrong earlier.
Man, management is dropping the ball.
Oh my god.
Think of all the follows you didn't get from
I know, dude.
2 hours of work you put in.
I worked so hard.
All right, so we just had our one of a kind legendary flying time machine crash. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to the nearest town and get another one.
You know, they just had these things around here.
Yeah.
It's Pure Land, you know?
I mean, it's Walmart after all. I mean, they got everything.
Exactly. It's probably on sale at half off, except that it was priced 4 times as much as it should have been.
Just picked up 2 units there. One that actually will let me move with the Talon, since I skipped getting the rover engine way back in the near the beginning, and then also the even better shield. It's technically considered a weapon, but what it does is it actually just prevents all encounters when you're on the Talon.
It's the best weapon.
Yep.
It kills all the enemies instantly.
I do get a chuckle out of getting an encounter during the really short opportunity I have to do so in this route when I'm flying into the sandstorm, because the enemies, the Talon actually attacks the enemies with whatever its strongest or whatever equipped weapon it has, and then the enemy's bored, but you can still run away. And it makes, I guess it's only supposed to make as much sense as how you can run away from encounters on the raft in Final Fantasy VI.
I mean, it is
Alright.
really big.
Yeah, so now we're just kind of hitting. We got the Excalibur, which is for us the best weapon in the game, and now we're just kind of hitting some story triggers. We've mentioned a couple times that there's actually a clip you can do, because right now we're basically trying to get into an island that has the leader of the evil gods of Pure Land in it, but it's currently surrounded by a barrier. But it's not a very effective barrier because you can actually just fly into it and then interrupt the barrier pushing you away in order to get into the cockpit and get out of the ship. But we're not doing that in this category, so we're just we're doing what we're supposed to, which is to get the Excalibur, which we need in order to get the pass to the underworld because reasons. I mean, I know the game reason why they did that is because only Faye can draw the Excalibur, and we're gonna lose her before we go in there. But why you need the Excalibur in order to get the pass is anybody's guess.
Finally gonna get a good healing spell.
Oh yeah. Too bad it costs $1 billion. Worth it though.
Why we're selling all our crap.
Yep.
Anything we don't-
Kirby. I
Yeah,
just
Cure
died.
B is pretty much. I think there's a Cure A, which is one of the lost magic spells, but Cure B is basically the best healing spell that money can buy.
It's basically a cure 2 for your whole party.
It'd be kind of silly, in my opinion, to not get it. It's the strongest sword in the game, so you probably still would. It's not like it's out of the way. It'd be one thing if you had a side quest for it, but you don't.
Yeah, it's almost certainly worth it to go get it on if you didn't have to. It saves so much time on the bosses.
Yeah.
Got to stay at the end at that last town. Is there an inn in this town?
There's a department store. That's kind of like an inn.
Not actually an inn though. It's not a. I mean, it's not a huge deal.
There's a boat.
There's a bed, but apparently not a bed for sale. Alright, we'll just move on. I think worst case, I can just buy an extra tent in the old village.
But tents are also glitches. I know that from.
Yes, very true. Alright, so this is one of the perks, in my opinion, of running this category, is actually getting to hear the music for the underworld, which is, it doesn't really go anywhere after the first few notes, but boy, are those first few notes really sweet to the ears.
It's okay. You'll get encounters to reset the music.
Yep, exactly. And like we just, for lack of anything better to talk about, I mean, the leveling route we're using to just kind of makes it so that getting ambushed and failing to run away is just not a thing for almost all of Pure Land. I mean, when we get to the next major dungeon, having cant runs and ambushes will be a little bit of a risk, but by and large, we're pretty safe.
Yeah, we did enough grinding back in Future that we're more or less caught up on levels. We have so much speed equipment.
Oh, and also, by the way, this is this feral underground city of monsters that has a shopping mall.
Well, monsters need to shop too. Everybody loves Walmart.
Oh yeah, and I did get enough experience from Jormungandr to need to kind of top off a level, so I'm gonna do that here.
Just like before, just needs to kill anything. Doesn't actually matter what.
My preference would actually be to be able to fight the shopkeeper, because it's awesome and because I can just afterwards immediately morph and then talk to him to buy stuff, and then also the sprite for fighting dwelgs will make you never sleep again or die laughing, either way. But I tried that in one of my practice runs, and there's enough extremely trolly things they can do to you that I'm just gonna do the safe route.
We've still got a couple minutes to play with for the estimate.
Alright, I'll at least show off the sprite. Courtesy of the guard at the stairs.
I don't want to come in too far ahead, you know.
You leave that to me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Vic, 1 hour underestimate Fong balls.
God.
Lots before he's going to do true Hundo Phantasy Star 4 that includes fighting Profound Darkness with every possible 5th character.
Oh, nice.
Alright, so here we go. Here's what a Dwelg looks like if they attack you. It's an
Isn't that
amazing
gorgeous?
sprite.
And he killed someone.
Yeah, but that would be why I didn't want to try to fight one for a level, but it's all good now. Even though I just morphed into a Dwelg right in front of him, he's extremely nearsighted. Or maybe he just assumed I was taking off my disguise.
Yeah, you gotta blend it in with the humans. And also, apparently, the beasts. You got, like, all these nice section societies here. You know?
Alright, so this is where, because I didn't buy the scarf back in the merchant, or the trade city I was in earlier, I'm just going to need to make this minor little detour here to pick it up for free. Scarf gives you petrify resistance, which I'll be needing for the next boss. Although, how you get, I mean, it makes its name in the Japanese version makes a lot more sense though. It's called a circlet there. How a scarf gives you much more buffs and stuff than like any of the other accessories you can get is beyond me. Maybe it just makes you stylish enough that monsters feel bad about hitting you hard.
Trying to see if there are any other excellent names in this game.
Well, the Durand is called the Solomon Sword in Saga 3.
I'm still laughing at ATM though. It's apparently the weakest cannon. That's hilarious.
Agron's name, I remember, is pretty good. It's very long, too. So I am doing like 2 or 3 saves per floor here too, just because if I get a ambush or can't run right after saving, I'll just do a reset to get out of it.
There's a robot ability called 6 times. I don't know 6 times what, but that's awesome.
Sounds like math to me. That's probably also banned in this category.
Yep. Right. Never mind all that XP mumbo jumbo I had to do after Chaos. Now, the second best field sprite in the game after Jormungandr here.
Oh baby, time for the cutscene of champions. there's a machine sitting behind that boss that makes him immune to Mystic Swords.
time
Luckily,
time for the forgetting menu of champions too.
Oh.
I thought, okay, I was
Where
like,
I kind of
man,
need to put on the scarf and stuff.
I was a little confused, but I just thought you were like
Beyond surprise,
a
was so
boss.
strong.
Yeah.
The game reset itself.
The bomb, yeah, the bomb was so strong.
Yep.
The bomb blew up the console.
The game
But
turned
it did splash damage to my Super Game Boy too.
Oh man.
Alright, now for real this time.
Alright. There's a machine behind the boss that makes him immune to Mystic Swords. Luckily, when Dion came back from reconstructive surgery, apparently the good doctor put a bomb inside of him.
Yeah, because we Shadowrun now.
Yes.
You never know when you might need it.
We sure taught that boss a lesson.
It's okay. He unexpectedly attacked us after we blew up his machine.
Yep, we never saw it coming.
Aggron's like simplistic in nature, but boy, can he pump out a lot of damage. I mean, it's not like that big of a deal, but most turns he'll use white. You can just cure B through it. But other times he'll use acid. It's a stronger single target, kind of annoying. But you can cure through that too. And then he can try to silence you or stone you, both of which don't matter. So those are like 3 turns basically. But either way, Cure B is such a good spell. You can just keep healing through whatever he does in many cases, unless you see a lot of acids. So you should be able to attack with at least.
I mean,
one
this is a
person every turn.
generally a fairly stable fight, but it can fall apart very fast if Aggron outspeeds me at a bad moment. Because like if he does pretty much any of his attacks that do damage and then acid, that's going to kill somebody if they're not at full health. And what I really, really want to see is him to try to use status attacks, just because I have immunity to both Petrify and I think, well, actually, Sharon is not immune to Silence, but I don't care, because it's only Arthur that's going to be casting magic here. He's got immunity to that from the Mirror Shield. So I really want him to spam those status attacks, because then I can put on the Durandal and attack with both Mystic Swords.
The main problem in this fight is that it's the only one of the Pure Land bosses that we don't have Blitz for, so we can't make him slower than us. So you're kind of stuck if he, because his speed can kind of go before you and after you.
Yeah, and then that's why whenever I'm curing, I'm putting on the Psy Dagger, which is like one of the weakest weapons in the game. But it's one of the only ones that gives you agility bonuses, so when it's really important for me to go first, I always want that equipped.
Don't worry, everybody. It's only 28,000 HP to get through. NBD. Yo, nice stone gas.
I mean, we're hitting him pretty good. Like 2,000 of damage around right there.
Even though we're past Halloween now, I do like to say that Aggron would make a great Halloween costume, just because your whole family could get in on that too. You just need like a really big blanket and some screeching demon masks.
I think what I'm hearing instead is that at the next limit break, the 3 of us are going to cosplay as Aggron together.
I'm in.
If y'all donate enough to Nami, we'll make it happen. Also, promises made by me don't actually need to be kept because I'm not anybody important.
Reminder that Big Fong Balls does not speak for RPG Limit Break, or High Spirits, or Puwexil,
Yes.
or myself, or anyone else in this chat.
Okay,
That's
things just
right.
got kind of scary, because if he goes first and does acid, then it's over. We have not actually seen it yet, but if you do just flat out die, this game does have a retry mechanic, which we might be seeing if
Ooh. Ooh. Getting a little scary.
Stone gas.
Ooh.
For now.
What a god.
So like I said, yeah, this is it's a long and generally pretty stable boss fight, but if he double turns me and does something nasty, it can fall apart very fast. Like if he'd have done anything other than a status attack on that one turn, I would have had to start over.
Hey.
No crits though, but can't complain too much. Only had to drop 2 elixirs, and I've got plenty of money to restock those.
Complain too much. Only had to fight the boss once.
Yep, and if this was a more serious PB attempt too, having 7 elixirs, I would just go with it too. But for marathon safety, I'm just gonna quick refill those before heading to the final area.
At this point, that's all we need our money for.
And we got the Sora engine for all of that drama too, which lets us go over high mountains.
Go fast! If you equip it.
Yes.
Your bag is full. Yeah, you can't just start a new stack of things. You can only have 9 elixirs.
I love the
Yeah,
name
Josh.
of this place too, Mount Goat. It's
There you go.
G-O-H-T, but it's still Mount Goat with Goat
Ah,
Castle
so
on
this
top.
is actually Zelda.
And we're on the last split here, boys and girls. Home stretch.
We're fighting one more encounter here, as has been the theme, just to get our monsters, or our beasts rather, where they need to be
Yeah,
for the last 2 fights.
in this case, it's to regain Blitz. For probably the single boss fight we're having it is most important. No time for satisfying our munchies for Hydra meat, though.
I love the big meat sprites. Fun.
Yes.
No longer a Liz Duke. Liz King!
Mhm.
You are the king.
Hail to the king.
But are you the Saga 3 champion of time and space?
Well, now he's the king of time and space.
Well, I am, according to my splits, on pace for the sub-estimate champion of time and space, at least. Although we'll have to save becoming the true king for another run, where I don't get like horrendously wrecked by chaos, other stuff.
Is it possible to not get horrendously wrecked by chaos?
I think so.
Also, want to buy this movement speed we're about to see for like the rest of the game.
It's a DLC feature. Sorry. No amiibos.
Yes. You need a talent amiibo in order to get that to work.
This freaking puwexil was too cheap to buy the season pass, dude. We all have to suffer. Unbelievable. Another Saga Frontier race.
This isn't FF6. No, it's not.
It's FF3.
It is FF3.
The Legend
The
of
Final
Epic
Fantasy Legend 3.
The Final Fantasy Legend
Get to
Saga
rock
3.
some legendary Final Dungeon music here.
Oh yeah.
This place is pretty long and confusing if you're doing it blind, but if you know exactly where to go, it's very short.
Well, a lot of video games are probably very long and confusing if you're blind, but it does help if you can see.
Very true. Or at least if you have cool shades.
Well, the shades don't do anything, so it's okay.
Unless you want to learn lores, though, then you got problems.
It's true.
But getting some ribbons are the ultimate accessory. I mean, they give you full status protection, like in most real Final Fantasy games, but they also give you a lot of magic defense in this game too.
Yeah, FFL3 randomizer. It's gonna be the new hot thing after Link to the Past. Everybody's gonna be on that.
Yep.
Everybody already has no idea what any of the forms in this game do, so it'll be perfect.
Yep. Already met the marathon commentators are going to be all having the FAQs at the disposal to try to make sense of this game.
There, we picked up a third ribbon for a mechanic that we have not explored in the past, but you can actually equip your guests too.
Yeah, and you don't want to do so without knowing what you're getting into too. Just because when you can only actually put stuff onto empty slots, and once you do that, you actually can't take it off ever.
It's stuck forever.
Sharon is graciously donating her speed helm to Borgin, just because Borgin is going to be my primary healer for both of the remaining boss fights, and him being faster in the first few rounds of the fight can make a difference.
Just like any percent.
Except he's slow as heck. In that category anyway.
We're slow here too, but we can help him out a little bit.
Oh no, it's Balor with one L during this cutscene, by the way. And Balor with two L's in the actual fight, because...
Balor with the unexpected attack.
Yes, and I didn't... Yeah, because again, I didn't see it coming, that he was going to attack me.
I mean, we thought he was gonna let you through, and then he sucker punches you, dude. Unbelievable. You can't trust anybody with a face on their body.
Diplomacy just doesn't work.
I'm gonna be pretty conservative for the first couple rounds of this fight, just because Balor has a hefty speed advantage on you until we chip most of it away with Blitz. I'm gonna be blitzing him a total of 5 times in order to just guarantee that I go first, and just that one option that I have actually makes this fight considerably easier than in any percent.
These last 2 fights are pretty scary in any percent, because you're gonna go last, and it's not fun. But here, you can...
Oh yeah, DK Virus it's the worst thing he can do to you normally, and it's the best thing if you have ribbons equipped, because it does 2 random status effects on every character. He's kind of getting slow enough now that I'm just gonna get a few swings in with the Excalibur while I'm getting my last 2 Blitz hits in.
Yeah, soon enough he's just going to become almost a non-matter. He's got a handful of attacks, as will the last boss. He can magma the party, he can magma one person, you can tail whip one person, you can crit that if you're real unlucky. You can DK Virus, which he's immune to. He can nuke, which is his strongest AoE, but should be able to get healed through for everything. Balor, I mean, especially at this point, now that he's been blitzed down, I mean, you just have to have, like, I don't even know what would have to happen, really, at that point to wipe, since you know you're going to go first.
Yeah, I mean, he can. The worst thing he can do once I'm past this point in the fight is just suck away some of my elixirs by hitting crits.
Yeah. Yep. Fair enough. And then the last boss is fairly similar. Basically just kind of like a lot of the same types of attacks, but just a lot stronger, so... you kind of know what you're getting into here, but just because Balor might seem smooth doesn't necessarily mean it's super easy from there. Much easier in this category than the other, but still, these are long, protracted fights.
He has 34,000 health, too. I mean, I am doing lots of damage to him per turn, but he just has so much health that this still takes a while. But yeah, him doing a single target attack on Arthur is what I want to see, because then I can just select A through the next turn. If I have Organ set to Cure 3.
Yeah, that built-in turbo.
It is. I mean, even though you can give equipment to guest characters, unfortunately you can't give magic to them, because being able to give Cure B to Borgin would actually be pretty good. Yeah, Borgin only has Cure A for group healing.
He just couldn't afford it.
Section to do white there.
Yeah, the guests don't level up. They just, they're static.
Yeah, they also don't count as a character for experience distribution too, which is really especially was nice during the grinding segment before Floatland. Like, was able to make use of Dion without like having to get him petrified too, and he wasn't sucking up experience just for being alive. Finally broke out the nuke, which when he does that I have to use Cure B to fully recover from it. Because if I only use Cure A, if he either does nuke again or does tail, that can kill someone. Like he did there. Should be getting relatively close now. Haven't gotten any crits yet, but also I haven't had to take any turns using elixirs. Hey, you know what? I should say that I haven't gotten any crits more often. You know what? Wait, hold on.
Nice crit.
Yeah. I haven't gotten any crits since like the last turn. It didn't work that time.
Darn.
And when you're getting off 2 attacks around, like, crits are worth their weight in gold. You get even just 2 crits, it's a whole round, you say, which is a lot more meaningful than it sounds. It's really nice.
He might not have died that turn without that crit.
This is also this part of the game too is where the fact that you can't level more than once per battle is actually a good thing, because like Balor is worth so much experience that you'd give you at least 2 levels, and we only want 1 so that we can still have the Liz King form going into Zagor, the final boss.
The Blitz attack is different on Jay, isn't it?
It's actually it's the same. It's called Thunder Tusk instead. I know when I was first working on this run, I basically mistranslated it because there's another attack that's called Tusk, but it's just a weak physical attack, and I was kind of misinterpreting that as meaning that there was a version difference, and
Okay.
Thunder Tusk didn't work on the English version or something. But yeah, it's called Blitz instead, and it does the same thing.
Localization, thanks again. I want Thunder Tusk instead of Blitz.
All right, so remember Ing and Four are mutant characters. Well,
Hey,
they finally get depetrified.
remember that spell that we bought, or we found in the tower 2.5 hours ago? Little shell spell that we found. Oh.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh yeah. So this is it's a pretty sweet fight. It's not actually the final boss yet. You have this dude who you're supposed to wipe out in one round, and funny enough, his HP pool is way too high for you to kill in one round, but that HP pool decreases per turn, so you'd end up having to wait anyway to get him down. But then in the meantime, you may as well just start boosting yourself up as well.
Yeah, because I'm basically just pumping out as many fasts as I can during that kind of about 10 turn wait I have to do before I can transition him to Zagor, the real boss. And I'm also using the shell too, just so that Arthur's defense is high enough that he can survive Zagor's single target attack.
Because as I said, a lot of Zagor's attacks are fairly similar to Balor's, but significantly stronger. So instead of Nuke, he has Flare, AoE, does more damage. Instead of the Tail Whip, he's got his DK Force or whatever it's called that can one-shot, so you want to be able to get protected from those. He's got a few other weaker ones, like I think he also has Magma, and then he's got his Thunder one that I'm blanking on right now.
Lid X, I think.
Lid X, yeah. And so, of course, I think it goes without saying why pumping up your offense is a good idea, but pumping up your defense is also a good idea. Just because there's certain attacks you really want to be able to get protected against, for sure.
Yeah, this will make sure that Arthur always survives DK Force unless he gets crit.
Yeah, and there's just really nothing you can do against a crit. A crit DK Force does a billion damage, so it's just one of those things.
Oh, you wasted the crit.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe not, because I missed with Magma. And I don't think that would have done enough damage to transition him if it wasn't a crit, actually.
Perfect, man.
all according to plan.
Definitely spliced.
Alright, so now you get your epic final boss music. This is a long fight, 48,000 HP. Similar strategy here. You want to get the blitzes in to make sure he starts going last, because again, you want to make things just a little bit more predictable. And then
it does
from
help
there,
too
you're
that
just
he's
going to start whittling
guaranteed
him down.
that he's guaranteed to do barrier on the first turn, and then the second turn I can have the mutants become meat shields too. So there isn't really anything he can do to stop me from getting 2 of my 3 blitzes off.
Yeah, absolutely. So you finally saw the mutants get unstoned, mostly for the buffing, and then you can just throw their guards in, and they won't survive one attack. But it's one free round that you don't have to worry about.
Because they're kind of like 15 levels lower than my other characters, along with having horrendously outdated equipment.
Yeah, and no spells of any sort that are, you gotta do any damage. Just kind of there.
But yeah, an extra little thing that just makes this just such a really climactic end to the game is that the Talon actually joins you for the final fight, and it
your
attacks.
dad's here.
Yeah, Dad's here, by the way. Yeah,
Just like the last game.
Yep. But yeah, the Talon attacks at the end of every turn with whatever the strongest weapon unit you have is, and that's why I picked up the laser cannon when I was getting the pass. Just because if you don't get any kind of weapon upgrade, the cannon that you have by default does 0 damage, and you just waste your time with the animation.
Yeah, it's a longer animation too, and then does no damage. It's just the ultimate slap to the face. And yeah, if you're really lucky, you can get the Talon kill, which is the ultimate swag kill for this boss.
Hey, we got some swag there.
Talon is going in.
The Talon crit.
I mean, 950 damage, that's nothing to shake a stick at there.
Would have been nice if I could do 950 damage to Chaos.
Oh, yeah, where was the talent we needed?
There's one other action this boss can take, and I'm always torn on how I want it to go. At some point in time, he can defend, and he'll open up his mouths, and you get essentially a free-ish turn. Obviously, he'll do a little bit less damage. Sometimes he doesn't do that. Sometimes he holds off till almost death, where he'll open his mouth and take a turn. So you lose that free turn. But if you're not really counting damage, which I'm certainly never doing, then you know he's kind of close to dying. So I'm never really sure which one of those I prefer. But that's really the only thing to look out for at some point in time. Otherwise, you're basically just reacting to what he's doing. Is he going to flare nonstop like he's doing right now, which is kind of crappy, or is he going to do some other stuff? Otherwise, you're going to just slowly whittle down his 48k HP.
Yeah, and then time, by the way, is after this boss dies. So we still got a couple minutes to go, but maybe like 2 to 3 minutes before time.
Yeah, the mutants are dead now. They're not stoned anymore. They're actually dead. They did their thing. They buffed Arthur up and took some body blows there. And now they're peacefully dead. But they'll be back.
Rest in peace, mac and cheese.
Yeah, and then because of all of those shell spells I cast during the Sol phase of the fight, really the only really nasty thing Zagor can do is to use DK Force, which is his single target attack on Sharon, who dies automatically to it, because, yeah, like right there, Arthur has enough HP and defense to barely survive it, and then Borgin has enough HP for it.
Yo, nice avenge damage.
Yeah.
That would be even swaggier way to kill him, by the way, too.
That would be godly.
I bet it like breaks the game or something.
Oh, hello.
It's okay. He crit that guy, so it didn't actually matter.
Yep.
Yeah, and there you go. You see that DK Force crit. Now you know why. It just doesn't matter. Billion damage. But I mean, we got a billion elixirs still too. So.
Yeah, and after 3 blitzes, because even though Zagor is, even though he's the CEO of Walmart in this case, and Balor was the vice president, Balor is actually quite a bit faster. And he doesn't give me kind of the free turns for using blitz at the start of his fight.
He doesn't give you 10 turns to buff either.
A real shame.
Yeah, like Bick mentioned too. I mean, if you're wondering why the leader of this dimension doesn't have any visible mouths, well, he's gonna fix that eventually. And when he does, is actually random, and it's because it's not tied to either how many turns you've been fighting or how much health he has left. It's just kind of it's always struck me as just such an odd thing for the game designers to randomize.
And
There we
they
go.
are.
Boom.
That means he could be close to dead or not. Who knows?
Yeah. Because even then, it's a variable amount of close to dead. There's just nothing about this game is like consistent at all.
It's probably not too long at this point, though.
Yeah, time should be coming up
Yeah.
soonish, so definitely be ready on that. Could be a turn, could be like 4 turns, but we're getting there for sure.
Time.
So be ready. Oh, there you go.
There it is.
Nice run.
Yep.
Don't forget to get your experience now.
Yeah, because we get for beating the game, we get 75,000 experience, and we both evolve into echidnas, which I guess is the ultimate Medusa form.
Yeah, after you get to like level 30 or 31, all the way up to level 99, there's only one beast form and one of every form.
Little money.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, yeah.
Big
There's
tie.
nothing. Once I've cleared the results from the final battle, I no longer have the ability to speed up text. And just what were they thinking to making this the default text speed for everything in the game too? Because this is
Dude,
what you
have to
get
read
if you
it very
don't
carefully.
hold down the. And you also you know what they did give you? They gave you a if you press the B button during dialogue, you can pause it. So they had the courtesy to give you that instead of making B like instantly fill the text box or skip the whole thing or something like that. But yeah, that was Final Fantasy Legend 3 Glitchless in, by my timing, 2:57:18, which is about a little over 15 minutes off my PB, thanks to lots of fun with chaos and couple
Pretty much all chaos.
couple mistakes here and there and a little other bad luck,
But we're underestimated.
yes, underestimate. So we could, instead of damaging the marathon schedule by going over estimate, we damaged it by going under instead. So I think we're going to be watching the ending too before we sign off. But yeah, it's a run that's a little over an hour longer than the any percent category, and it's a bit grindier of a run just because since not being able to use the gold underflow glitch results in just having to grind levels a couple times in order to be able to beat bosses with any expectation of success. But I enjoy this run, I guess, mostly just because I kind of view this game less as kind of a really kind of deep and serious speed game and more as just kind of an excuse to play through a game that I've got a lot of childhood nostalgia for. And it's kind of this glitchless run, I think I just kind of enjoy more because of being more similar to the way I played this game as a kid. And I think the routing and thought kind of decision making process you have to do during a lot of the parts of the game is pretty interesting. And overall, I would say the any percent category is it's a much more technical run with all of the random encounter manipulation you do, along with some like enemy AI manipulation. And like my personal favorite is the Aggron strat for any percent, where it's all kind of perfectly routed that whenever Aggron spams white, you can survive it with 1 HP left.
Yeah.
This category just it's a different way to play the game fast. That and just kind of, I guess, if you like this game, it's just kind of whatever floats your boat as far as.
Yeah, I think the routing in this category is really cool.
Yeah, cause the fact just how sweetly the evolution route works for the beasts too. When you only need to actually farm for meat drops twice, and then you're set for the whole rest of the game. That just hitting certain levels at certain points takes care of the rest. And I did not design any of this too. All credit goes to Baku Zero, and I'm assuming other Japanese Saga series speedrunners. Like Baku Zero ran Saga 1 or the Final Fantasy Legend for us for the RTA in Japan marathon last year, and I enjoyed getting to do English commentary for it along with Bick.
Yeah, that run was super fun to watch.
Yeah, Baku is just Mr. Saga. He either has the record or a really, really solid time at all of the games and all of the categories, basically. He's done pretty much all the routing himself, too.
And he was there at Limit Break in chat, judging all of us Americans.
Oh, that's true. And he did Japanese restream commentary for Legends 2 and 3.
Oh, that I didn't know. Awesome.
Yeah.
I really want to know how bad he judged us. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because he had his mic on and everything, and I know they archived the VODs on the Japanese_restream channel, so maybe maybe pop one of those up and hear how he reacts to the stuff that happens.
Cool. Nice run though.
Yeah.
I mean, shenanigans. The time makes sense with all the shenanigans. I think mostly everything else went pretty good.
Yeah, because I mean, when I went to Floatland, I was about 10 minutes, or no, actually 12 and a half minutes behind my PB, and just looking at the splits from there. The only place where I really kind of lost more than like trivial time was Aggron because of goofing around with the Dwelg sprite and then having to restart the Aggron cutscene because of forgetting the menu.
Schedule link is there. I think Lunar is next.
Yeah, Lunar.
Yep.
I think the Sega CD version of Lunar is up next.
Yeah. Yeah, it says Lunar Silver Star.
Yeah,
Yes,
definite shoutouts to High Spirits for putting this marathon together and his friends that are helping on the admin side too. Definitely a lot of cool runs that have been in this marathon and are still yet to come too.
Absolutely.
It's a good idea to have another RPG marathon, even if it's just for fun.
Agreed.
Speaking of just for fun, we do have a. I do like the scheduling that we've got the wombo combo of Final Fantasy IV into Phantasy Star 4 on I think it's Saturday too.
It's okay.
Two sides of
will
the
come
same
in
coin.
alright.
Let me back you up right there. Let me drop some knowledge. We got Mystic Quest into Phantasy Star 4 into FF4, which is basically all legendary skill-based games back to back to
All
back.
that was missing was this game, really, in that.
Pretty
block.
much, yeah. Incredible scheduling for sure.
Really would have been Skull Block.
That would have been a great block to put on Halloween too.
Yeah, also true.
Does anybody in chat have any questions about this game or the run or anything before we head out? Let's let the ending wrap up and then pass it off to, I think it's Holy Smith that's going to be running Lunar.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I hear the sandworm hype building already.
It's gonna be a good run.
I can't wait to see what hilarious way you get owned. Not if you do, just which ones it is.
How many mounts are ideal for a boss? More than one.
Not if you do, just.
This is my preferred emoji string for Sandworm too.
It's a good one.
This game's still on because we haven't gotten to Japanese timing end yet.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how long this ending is for a Game Boy game too, because I think it's at least double the length of the endings to Legend 1 and 2.
It's because of the text speed.
Yeah, yes.
All they had to program in was boss HP. I mean, what else is there to this game? Nothing.
Yeah, the HP value for the bosses takes up like a third of the cart space.
Yeah, they didn't even have to like cheat it with quiet boss HP refills and stuff to give bosses ridiculous health pools. They just programmed it in. And we finish this story where it all began, with grinding. Like we're grinding on bosses, I guess now.
Let's revisit all the Walmart staff.
Yes, we got Dogra, we got Ashura, who's the assistant regional manager, or the assistant to the regional manager. We got our greeter, Chaos. Greets you with an earthquake.
God, that just reminds me of this Family Guy joke that I will not repeat with Dick Cheney. But if anybody knows what I'm talking about, I hope someone in the chat feels me right now. Check out that hand. Talk to the hand, dude.
Yeah, Maitreya wants you to talk to the hand.
You know, if your hand's bigger than your face, you have cancer. I wish I could do that right now. We got Fenrir.
We got our call center customer service, Guha. Oh, and the special thanks to Ted, and that list there is Ted Woolsey. I think this was, if not his first RPG translation project, one of them. So
I believe that the credits didn't get like all the way through the bosses.
So we have him to thank for not getting to be the champions of time and space. We just get to experience the third Final Fantasy legend.
Ruined another game.
Ruined another game. Alrighty.
All right, so I think we're gonna call that good for Saga 2017. So thanks to my buddies Bick and Lynn for commentary. It was definitely a pretty fun 3 hours. And coming up next, I guess we got us some Lunar Silver Star action with Holy Smith.
Thanks for having us. Good times. See you Saturday.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, puwexil, for that awesome run. Bick and Lynn for awesome commentary. As they said,